Greetings and salutations, guys. Welcome back to the Illuminati. We're back, we're not dead, we were not captured, we didn't spend a couple of weeks in memory fill this time. Just boring shit like life got in the way. We had a couple of stuff with my life, then we had Christmas, you had some personal things come up. We're just not going to get back, we're not going to get back in the bunker for a while.
We're missing in action for a while, haven't we? But we are back.
We are back indeed.
And invigorated.
Yeah, ready to go. Even so, we're going topical. Sort of, kind of.
Yeah.
Ish.
Clickbait-ish. Possibly.
Yeah, we're going clickbait, is what we're doing. Basically, as we record this, Russia are invading the Ukraine. There's news reports coming out that they've taken Chernobyl power plant. And we both sat here and went, why the fuck are they taking Chernobyl? What would you want a ruined fucking power plant for?
And then the idea was, is there something behind it? So you said to me, I think we should talk about Chernobyl. No, what is it to talk about? And then I went, all right then.
No, to be fair, that exact conversation where I tried Randy Craming you, because you went, well, what's it got? Chernobyl went, it's Hillary Clinton and the lizard people locked the bug people from Mars in there in '86 and Putin's off to rescue them.
And if you don't know about Randy Kramer, you've missed out.
You've missed out big time if you don't know about Randy Kramer. So yeah, I was just trying to be flippant, and then you came back to you and went, do you know, there's some good conspiracies here. So yeah, we start to go a bit clickbait. While Ukraine and Russia are in the news, we're going to cover all the conspiracy theories around Chernobyl.
And the irony is that there's loads of wide varying ones. They're pretty fucking fun.
Mm-hmm.
Now there isn't much on them.
Yeah, we're not deep diving into the facts like we normally do because you just can't on most of these.
Some of this is pretty
surface level. Yeah.
But it's pretty fun, but some of it also is actually pretty sad as well. I mean, I think there's some of it is pretty sad, but as in genuinely humanity quite sad. Some of the conspiracies that have happened today, but for the most part, they are just fun and wacky. The stuff that we like.
So let's begin this journey into the wonderful, weird conspiracy of Chernobyl. As always, I am your host, Lord Badger, my ever trusty sidekick, Craig. And we mentioned earlier the Simpsons episode, but since you've now taken over editing duties, you can find that Simpsons episode just there. You can't put it anywhere else.
I don't have to add it.
You have to add it, yeah. Yeah, let's dive in. So, for those...
firstly, I am not his fucking sidekick. Okay? Don't just gloss over. He does this every time. I am not your sidekick. I am not Robin to your Batman. It's not how this is. It's a partnership.
It's okay.
Don't stroke my ego. You know, deflates my ego before we even start a video. You know, trusty fucking sidekick. All you've got to do is turn up now.
That's the hard part. I've not been here since November.
We're doing what again? Oh shit! In fact, this is no shit. Before we even start, Roger, we're recording tonight. Oh fuck, is that tonight? I'm actually in Huddersfield.
No, that is lies. That is absolute bollocks and lies. You went, I'll be at yours at 7, and I went, oh shit, I'm in Barnsley.
Wherever it was.
I genuinely thought you were away this weekend.
Did you?
I'm on a train halfway to Barnsley.
Shit like that's happening between all of the shit. Our communication skills have probably not been
Well, when we say every week, we come up with a subject like Chernobyl, and we go away and we research, and we don't tell each other what we're being researched. It's when we sit down and live this episode tonight, I genuinely have no idea what he's got in his notes. He has no idea what I've got in mind. This is completely unscripted. If you don't believe that for a second, just think back to, he went, I'll be down at 7 to record, and I went, fuck, I'm in Barnsley. I thought you were away this weekend. We can't arrange a time to record and to be in the same city together. You think we can compare notes?
And let's be honest, I've got 18 pages. Badger has never read 18 pages in his life. So Well, that's not really
No,
true.
no.
Badger likes his picture books. No.
I'm about 8.
No, you do read a lot, to be fair.
But mine are in small font because I don't have all my eyes. I can read.
Yeah, like the dog. Jeez. So he's bringing that up because today I'm refereeing my daughter's game, and my daughter said to me when a second goal went in, I was like, how did that go in? I was like, I don't know how that went in. Blew the whistle, gave a goal. We all carried on.
Yeah.
2-0. At the end of the game, she came to me and she goes, Dad, why did you give that second goal? I was like, what do you mean? She goes, it went in the side netting. I was like, it went what? She goes, it went through the side netting. It's like, why didn't you tell me? She goes, I'm telling you now. It's like,
It's too late now.
wait to tell me now. And then in the WhatsApp group, I asked everybody. So Ava's absolutely adamant that goal went through the side netting. Did anyone see it? And they went, oh no, shit ref.
Shit refereeing. We don't need to see. It's your job to see it, mate.
Yeah. So I just said it was old man eye. So he's referencing back to the conversation we had just before this. But again, we've digressed before we've even started, as is the way of these videos.
And you know what the thing is? This is really shit. We've digressed so much times in this opening. It's the third time we've filmed this opening already.
Second, because I forgot to press record on the audio.
Anywho,
Yes, we'll start now.
but if regular viewers like to know, I like to set out the foundations of the story before we go into the conspiracy.
Yep.
Now, there isn't really a foundation for the conspiracy on this because they're so different and wide-ranging.
Yeah.
So I thought if you'd indulge me for a little bit, I'm just going to set the foundation of what the Chernobyl disaster was.
Okay.
Because while we know what it is, we're both 40. It happened when we were 5 years old.
I'm older than 40, by the way.
I thought you were 41, aren't you? Sorry, you're that's why your eyes didn't see go through side.
Exactly. What happened there? Yeah.
But yeah, so we weren't really aware of Chernobyl when it happened, but we grew up knowing about it.
Maybe that's why I've got this cough. It's just,
But there's people alive watching this video won't know what Chernobyl was.
It's true.
So I'm just going to set what happened at Chernobyl, if you don't mind, for a little bit. So,
That's
the Chernobyl disaster was a nuclear accident that occurred on the 26th of April 1986 at the number 4 reactor in the Chernobyl nuclear power plant.
What, can you believe that's 36 years ago?
It's more than 30, yeah, it's 36,
That's
isn't it?
nearly exactly 36 years.
Yeah, exactly 36 years.
That's madness.
No, nearly 40, yeah.
No, 36. I'm pretty sure 86 or 36 is...
86, 96, 96, 56, 2016, 2026, it'll be 40 years in 2026.
Yeah, but it's 2022, so it's 36.
It's 4 years away from 40 years.
But I said 36. For God's sake, well, argue over anything. It's nearly 40, but it's 36, right?
But it's nearly 40!
I'm sure that's what I said. I'm not even going off the ground. You can tell we're just coming back, can't you?
Yeah, a bit rusty. So, it was a Chernobyl nuclear plant near the city of Pripyat, in the north of Ukraine, which was at the time Soviet Union.
USSR.
Gives a bit of context to what's happening with Ukraine and Russia there. It is considered the worst nuclear disaster in history, both in cost and casualties. It is one of only 2 nuclear energy accidents rated at 7, the maximum severity on the International Nuclear Event Scale. Do you want to take a pop at what the other one was?
No, I know the other one was Fukushima.
It was indeed, the other one being 2011 Fukushima Daiichi nuclear disaster in Japan. So at Chernobyl, the initial emergency response, together with later decontamination environment, involved more than 500,000 personnel.
Wow.
And it cost an estimated 18 billion Soviet rubles, which is roughly 68 billion US dollars in 2019, adjusted for inflation. That's fair fucking. When you think Soviet Union was on its knees, it was knackered, and it cost it 18 billion rubles.
Now we know how Roman Abramovich can also whitewash his money now. He can just do this,
So the accident occurred during a safety test on the steam turbine of an IBM-K type nuclear reactor. During a planned decrease of reactor power in preparation for the test, the power output unexpectedly dropped to near zero. The operators were unable to restore the power levels specified by the test program, which put the reactor into an unstable condition.
So the steam, I can't remember now, but the steam is you burn the nuclear rod or you heat the nuclear rod. It creates steam and that spins the turbines, doesn't it?
Yeah, but you've got to keep the you're going to keep it at a certain level. If it drops to near zero,
Yeah.
then you've just got pure radiation pumping out and
Yeah, something to do with
no release. If I
doesn't
understand it.
So, yeah, the water allows the atoms to react in a slower rate, doesn't it? So
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you need to keep it at minimum power. If it drops to near zero power, basically just gone. Your safety mechanisms around the radiation
Overheats
have gone.
yeah.
Have just switched off. Yeah. Right. The risk was not. Here we go. Sorry. The operators were unable to restore the power level specified by the test program, which put the reactor in an unstable condition. The risk was not made evident in the operating instructions. So the operators proceeded with the test.
Now, if that's software, just go. You know what? I'm just gonna press it and see what happens. That's okay. Nuclear shit.
It's dropping to near zero power. It's going to become unstable. Check your operating manual. Don't say about like the manual. Carry on.
Let's just ride this and see what happens.
Yep.
Brilliant idea.
Upon test completion,
Something's not quite right.
that's a bit of an understatement. The operators triggered a reactor shutdown. But a combination of operator negligence and critical design flaws in the reactor had made the reactor primed to explode.
Can I just say, this is the official story, right?
Yeah, this is the official story.
Yeah. So this is not
Not conspiracy. I'm
Yeah.
not saying the operators didn't do this right or the reactor was built badly by the Soviets. This is the official story.
Yeah.
That it was a mixture of operator negligence and critical design flaws. Right? That instead of the reactor shutting down, they triggered a reactor shutdown, but instead of it shutting down, because of where they triggered the shutdown, the process they'd set in motion and the design flaws built into the reactor meant instead of the core shutting down, they just primed it to explode.
I like it. Great idea.
So instead of shutting down, an uncontrolled nuclear chain reaction began, releasing enormous amounts of energy. The core melted down and 2 or more explosions ruptured the reactor core and destroyed the reactor building. This was immediately followed by an open air reactor core fire, which, just point out, a reactor core fire is pretty fucking dangerous in a nuclear reactor, but it's contained, you can put it out.
You can.
An open air reactor core fire, you've lost all
That's
containment.
Yeah.
It's gone now.
It just fuels the fire constantly.
Yeah.
Loads of oxygen.
You can, if it's in a sealed reactor, you can pull oxygen out of the room, starve the flames. Open air fire, all bets are off.
Good night. God bless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, so it released considerable airborne radioactive contamination for about 9 days that precipitated into parts of the USSR and Western Europe before finally ending on 4th of May 1986. Some 7% of fallout landed in Belarus, 16 kilometres away. The fire released about the same amount of contamination as the initial explosion. As a result of rising ambient radiation levels off-site, a 10-kilometre radiation exclusion zone was created 36 hours after the incident. About 49,000 people were evacuated from the area, primarily from Pripyat. The exclusion zone was later increased to 30 kilometres, 19 miles, when a further 68,000 people were evacuated from the wider area. It later became the Chernobyl exclusion zone, covering an area of approximately 2,600 kilometres squared, or 1,000 square miles. The reactor explosion killed 2 engineers and severely burned 2 more. A massive emergency operation to put out the fire, stabilise the reactor and clear up the ejected nuclear core began. During the immediate response, 134 station staff and firemen were hospitalised with acute radiation syndrome due to absorbing high doses of ionising radiation. Of these 134 people, 28 died in the days to months after, and approximately 14 suspected radiation-induced cancer deaths followed within the next 10 years.
And
So this was pretty horrific.
yeah, and wasn't it as well that the Russians said they had control, there was no issues whatsoever, and only, I think it was somewhere in Scandinavia, about 4 days later, their alarm started going off. What's all this nuclear contamination? It's like, yeah, it's us.
Sorry. Yeah. I mean, I didn't put that in because that's kind of urban legend mythos. It's not in the
Really?
official. It's not in the official story that Russia denied it because there's no. Because it was. Got to remember, there's two things there. We talk about Russia today.
Yeah.
Oh, it's in Ukraine. So when we talk about Russia, but it was Soviet Union at the time. A lot of the records don't exist anymore. So it's kind of. We didn't tell people. Oh, we told them early enough. Oh, well, you didn't tell Scandinavia till the wind changed that way. The thinking was that if the wind kept blowing, I'm going to get the directions wrong, so please forgive me, but for all intents and purposes, it doesn't matter. If the wind keeps blowing to the east, then the radius is going to blow into Russia, and we've got a lot of land with people spread out among it.
Okay.
It'll be fine. And then, I think on day 2, the wind changed and blew west. And they're
Belarus
like, oh,
like,
fuck,
oh,
that's going yeah, shit, that's going into Belarus, fuck. And then Scandinavia picked up and went, shit, we need to tell people now.
Yeah, I mean,
and there's also the other side of it is that there was an American reporter on the scene that videoed it happening.
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah, there's an American. I've seen video while researching this week. An American reporter flying around in a helicopter filming it, like a day after it happened. So that story, while it's not in the official thing, holds no weight because how would Scandinavia not know about it till 2 days later when they put it radiation? But an American reporter's in a helicopter above the site a day after.
Yeah, but you don't know. I mean, this was the USSR. First, they closed all information off to everybody else because they wanted to contain it. They didn't want to look weak. And secondly, if there was an American reporter flying around, it's like, sunshine, you're not moving nowhere.
But
You're
it's
not
just,
saying anything
it's
to
some
anyone.
buts and maybes. We can't say for definitive. That's why they include it in the opening bit.
Loads of conjecture.
But that's what happened. That's the originalness of it. Now, let's get into the conspiracies of it.
Well, I'm going to let you go for the first one because I've got a lot and I don't really know where to start, if I'm going to be honest. So,
well, I've not got these in any order at all. So, the first one that's up here is the Blackbird of Chernobyl.
yes, I've got that one too.
You got the one. This
It's
is
also my number one.
your number one as well. So, in the days leading up to the Chernobyl disaster, several of the workers in the control room of the nuclear power plant in northern Ukraine claimed to have seen the creature that is known as the Blackbird of Chernobyl.
Yes, and it mirrors Mothman.
The Mothman,
Yeah.
So this terrifying creature rose above the horizon of Chernobyl and Pripyat, a hideous humanoid with giant wings, a black headless body, and red glowing eyes, sending a message of doom to all who gazed upon it.
Hold on, so it's got no head, but it's got eyes. It's like embedded.
There's eyes in his torso.
All right.
Yeah. Alright. In the days leading up to the Chernobyl disaster, several of the workers in the control room of the nuclear power plant in northern Ukraine claimed to have seen the creature that is known as the Blackbird of Chernobyl. Those unlucky enough to see the creature were said to be plagued by terrifying dreams and threatening phone calls. One thing I thought about reading this, right? It's a giant black winged creature, headless, with eyes in its torso. How does it pick up a phone and dial numbers to ring you?
Well, that was the weird thing, right? So my notes are different to yours, but they're in the same area. And what does maybe it's out there, and if you guys know where it is, link us and tell us exactly where it is. But I couldn't find what these phone calls are,
No.
who made them,
No.
what was being said.
No.
What does a threatening phone call mean?
Yeah, just
What's
people got
it
threatening
even
phone
mean?
calls. That's the end of that line. That's the end of that line of investigation.
I mean, I couldn't find anything. I tried and tried,
yeah.
and I couldn't find what does that actually mean.
But how does a headless creature with wings pick up a phone and dial it?
Maybe it's not a creature. Maybe it's, Have you seen the movie? I think it's called. Is it The Box? The Box where it's with Cameron Diaz and James Marsden, and the button gets pressed and there's an alien who can control loads of people to go do whatever he fancy, effectively.
Right.
So who's to say?
Is the Mothman controlling people to
They
make
could
threatening phone calls?
Yeah.
Oh, well, wait.
Instantly.
There's no thing of psychic powers. So this is, you see him and he gives you threatening phone calls. I'll have to pick up a phone and ring you.
But the important thing is though that this blackbird was seen, or the Blackbird of Chernobyl was seen before the event happened.
Yeah.
Some report, because they were reporting it to their superiors, going, "I've seen this thing in and around."
Well,
and
I'm
it's
going to
terrifying
touch on
shit
that.
me."
I'm going to touch that later in my notes because they say Sydney archaeologist Robert Maxwell is the only archaeologist who has ever worked at Chernobyl. Dude, that's a pretty fucking decent claim to fame.
But why would an archaeologist really want to work at
Right. He's completing 2 field excursions in the exclusion zone in 2010 and 2012. He's passionate about the place both in historical and archaeological sense. There is little Maxwell doesn't know about Chernobyl on matters both the physical and supernatural world. He says, the legend states in the days leading up to April 26, 1986, that a supernatural creature was sighted in the sky over Chernobyl by many of the men in the control room. They also claim to have seen this terrifying creature just before the explosion. Now it's become one of those fables that is difficult to track because it relies upon the accounts of people who died due to radioactive contamination. The Blackbird has also become one of those fairy tale legends where if you try to look for proof it might not be available because the workers are dead or maybe the sightings were never officially recorded. So for people trying to check the veracity of these claims, of course you've got to take them on face value because there's not a lot of history or archaeology to go on, but the stories persist even to this day. These legends fill a place with us humans that the ghost stories and the stories by the fireside were filled back in early centuries. But there are a couple of versions of the Blackbird story, and the earliest known account seems to come from 2005. According to the legend, rumours went through the ranks of Chernobyl that 5 employees had seen a large, dark, headless creature with gigantic wings and fire-red eyes. Chernobyl employees began sharing strangely similar experiences. Some had horrifying nightmares while others received threatening phone calls. The second account I've heard of this story comes from 2007, which says that people in and around the power plant began to experience a series of strange events revolving around sightings of a mysterious creature, also described as large, dark and mutated creature with large wings and piercing red eyes. People affected by the phenomena also express nightmares and have first-hand encounters with the winged beast. Some of the workers reported their bizarre experiences to supervise the facility, but there was very little these officials could do, even if they'd been willing to take action. Then in April, disaster struck. It was several years later that the stories of the Blackbird began to spread. Because the workers apparently described the Blackbird as a headless, large-winged black creature with no head, but with fire-red eyes, which most people take to mean the eyes appear in the torso, it sounded very similar to the Mothman sightings in the West. Many people believe the Mothman, like the Blackbird of Chernobyl, are the harbingers of doom in the same way that a banshee was a herald of doom and a death to many Celtic societies.
I was going to say the same. So what I found is this appearance, similar to what the Mothman did. The idea was that this is it realised. So the Mothman is a big event is about to happen, and it appeared. It's similar to what happened with the Mothman. So this Blackbird appeared, and it's just an omen of a disaster. So it makes its appearance just before something happens. And I also read as well. The weird thing is like people. Well, some people, and it's a very small conspiracy, that the Mothman and the Blackbird of Chernobyl and so on are
one of the same.
Yeah, but
is it? So one way it's a time traveller.
Yeah, and they just viewing events.
Yeah,
it reminds me of Fringe a lot, but yeah, it just comes back to view an event. It's not, which is peculiar because it would mean that there's a really peculiar looking creature that has the ability for time travel that just wants to come and watch human events. It sounds like a really brilliant sci-fi trope, but
yeah.
But it's well, that's what some people see.
Would that be the thing of? Would that be an inbuilt safety mechanism of the universe that, like, if we can travel in time, then we could go back in time and we can, the smallest thing like stepping on a bug can change a timeline.
Well, the butterfly effect.
Yeah. So, does the universe have some built-in effect where you can travel back in time, but you can only observe, you can't interact?
But why would it be those two events? We've had events that are much more catastrophic.
Because we're sat here today talking about conspiracy around Chernobyl, so what really happened to Chernobyl? Let's go back and look at it.
Yeah, but there's thousands. You could say 9/11.
Yeah.
I didn't see a Mothman there, or you know, there's all sorts of things that have occurred. Massive event like MH30, whatever it was.
MH370.
That's vanished. Where was a Mothman there? It's like it's really peculiar why it's
Roswell,
two events.
Yeah. Oh, but it just they were only observed at that one. They got better at hiding.
Yeah, but maybe. But in between that period, you still had Pan Am disappearing. You still had all sorts. Was that 88?
But you're thinking of events in a linear fashion. If you can jump back to 1986 in Chernobyl, from, I don't know, say 2030,
Yeah.
well, don't mean you're going to go see Chernobyl, Pan Am. You could go Chernobyl, 9/11, Roswell, Pan Am. You can jump in between it at once, whichever you want. You have to go in order.
So you're saying those were their first two and they went,
shit, we got spotted, we need to change our outfit here.
But we're just catching up to that time period.
Yeah. They can jump in and out of our timeline as they want. And what's to say the angels of old that we're seeing in biblical texts aren't time travellers observing.
Yeah. Do you know what? That's a brilliant segue. We just have to hold for 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
The biblical idea. That's a brilliant segue. Just before we move on to the second thing. So, one of the less accepted theories they're talking about is the black bird of Chernobyl was nothing more than a misidentification of the black stork, which is an endangered species endemic to South Eurasia. The black stork stands about 3 feet tall, has a massive wingspan of nearly 6 feet, and potentially that was there. Now, it doesn't explain the menacing phone calls or the nightmares.
Big red eyes. I mean, you can explain the nightmares. You see a big towering black fucking wingspan in the night.
Yeah.
You're going to have you had nightmares afterwards. That's not a shocker. I don't you connect the dots there.
Yeah, so it's... When we spoke on the Bigfoot video, how easy it is, which was a brilliant video, by the way, which we talked about the misidentification of bears, and it's so easy to go, what was that I just saw in the woods? And then you go, fucking hell, it's a bear. And Joe Rogan even said once, fucking hell, I thought, I saw a bear, and it's actually just a fox or something running around. Cause
the beast of Bodmin was just a fucking cat, off in the distance, yeah.
So, if this was there, and people and fear takes over, it messes with your mind, this fear. Mm-hmm. You can't think in a logical way, and it really messes with your implanted memories. And also you can recreate memories.
Well, to put it really simply, right, and it's kind of slightly going on, but I walk up and down the canal a lot in Leeds, right? I walk up during the day, someone complete stranger comes walking the other way, alright mate, morning, carry on past, right? Walking down the night, everyone's going to stab me, everyone's going to kill me, everyone's a danger, everyone's a threat. Walk through the daytime, everyone's a friend, alright mate, morning, carry on. Same guy could be walking past at night, and I'm like fucking hands in pocket, ready to fight, don't get in his, get ready to be attacked. Just because it's night. Just because it's dark and you can't see. So if you see a bird in the daytime, fucking hell, look at that bird, that's fucking glorious. You see it at night, so on a cooling tide which when you spread, oh fuck, what the fuck is that? That's an evil monster.
Another harbinger of doom.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's just night. I would say like nighttime changes perception so much.
It does, 100%.
Walk past him on the canal in the day, morning. Walk past him on the night, he's going to stab me. That's
human nature though.
It's survival, that's all it is. It's survival instincts.
100%. But what if this report's true though? Let's just before we go on to the next thing. The workers genuinely reported something that they were fearful of. So they've seen something. So we're just assuming that this thing.
Okay, go on, yeah.
So what we're saying is, if this is true, reporters, people who worked there went, I am seeing something that I don't understand, and I'm genuinely scared. Now we can explain the nightmares because
you've seen someone settling,
and anybody can have a nightmare if they're fearful.
Yeah.
You can play in your mind, and so nightmares to me can be explained relatively straightforward. I can't find any evidence about what these phone calls.
Yeah, I'm dismissing the phone calls.
Yeah.
I can't find evidence at all.
If it's to be believed that they're still seeing something and reporting something, was it all misidentification? Because more than one, on more than one occasion.
Again, I'm going to dismiss it being reported beforehand because there's no evidence of it being reported.
I mean, this is coming from Maxwell, right?
Yeah, Maxwell's saying even if people did report it beforehand, there was no way for the management to report it.
Yeah.
So these stories already came out. And they did come out in 87 or 88, like I saw something above that.
Yeah.
Came out in 2005.
So it's being able to gain its notoriety. It's
gained its urban legend status, and then you could. I saw that.
I saw it too. Yeah, I get that.
So, yeah, I'm just kind of dismissing this entire thing, to be honest. I think possibly it might be. I like the Black Stork explanation, to be fair. Before that, I didn't know the Black Stork, but before that, I just kind of, this is just, I was there, I saw something, are important. Now let me write a book.
Yeah, maybe so. Follow on it.
Yeah.
But if we could go back to the segue then, so we'll go to the second
So the
line.
biblical prophecies.
Yes, a biblical prediction. This, and do you know what? You know my
I've
feelings.
not got this one, but as an atheist, tell me about biblical prophecies.
You know my feelings on. You know my feelings on fairy tale books. Okay.
I mean, he plays the atheist for the camera. He goes to church every Sunday. That's why we can only record on a Friday.
Ellen Road's not every Sunday. Don't give me that. That's the only church I believe in.
He can recite midnight mass.
So again. So no, but number two, that actually genuinely was a biblical prediction that people are attributing towards it. So in the book of the Apocalypse or Revelations, it's 8:10 to 11. It reads, "And the third angel sounded the trumpet, and the great star fell from heaven, burning as it were a torch, and it fell on the third of the rivers, and upon the fountains and waters. And the name of the star is called Wormwood. And the third part of the waters became wormwood, and many men died in the waters because they were made bitter." The Russian word for wormwood is Chernobyl.
Okay.
So, did the Bible predict Chernobyl accident? The fires of the reactor were likened to a torch. The firemen that attended the scene. It's also thought the third trumpet refers to the accident itself, and the water is bitter due to the radiation. An angel with a trumpet pressed to her lips stands close to Chernobyl. And the sculpture created by a Ukrainian artist, Analotai Hadamarka, is a tribute to the brave firemen and liquidators that lost their lives at the plant. A liquidator is someone who basically drunk loads of vodka, went in, started sanding all the uranium.
No anyone coming out.
Yeah. And because they believe that vodka basically
Stop radiation.
Yeah. So they were called
I'm a proof.
You're proof of that though. But you could stick him anywhere and you'd be fine.
Nah. Fucking places I've stuck things and not got anything.
Don't elaborate. But it's a really weird. It means nothing, but it's interesting. I had no idea wormwood meant Chernobyl.
I didn't. Right, but is that just hubris?
Yeah, it is.
Like, we're fucking amazed. We'll call it wormwood. It's fine, right? Or it's very prophecies of Nostradamus. Is this where like you can take that one verse and you can apply that to 1,000 different things that have happened
You can.
since it was written.
Absolutely.
I mean, so you were saying, so wormwood was called Chernobyl.
Yes.
Right. So and the trumpet was the angel blowing trumpet is a statue. So it's all lining up. But where's the and the third part? Was it and the third part of the upon the fountains of the waters?
So, and it fell on the third part of the rivers and upon the fountains of the waters. So what basically saying is that when Chernobyl went, it poisoned the waters around it, which is true.
But only the third part of the waters. Where's the first and second part of the waters? So you can place that geographically.
Again, this is always been the thing about biblical prophecies.
No, because he said, it fell upon the waters and the fountains. That's exactly what it did. But the third part of the waters, so why did it fall on the first and second part of the waters then? What? Why did it only fall on the third part? Is the river that runs past Chernobyl the third part of the river?
As is always the same with any biblical prophecy, you could take it and apply it to anything that you fancy because it's not specific.
And a great star fell from the heavens. That sounds like a meteorite. Burning as if it were a torch. That sounds like a meteorite. And it fell upon the third part of the rivers. Not fell on the rivers. And upon the fountains of the waters. And the name of the star was called Wormwood. Or Chernobyl. And the third part of the waters became Chernobyl. Or became Wormwood. Well, they didn't, did they? And many men died because of the waters.
Well, died of the waters. So
because they were made bitter. So None of this sounds like an asteroid fell into the river and it turned the men bitter and
Completely different.
that's a completely different interpretation, but that's really what it says. It's
Yeah, absolutely. So people, it's just because Wormwood and Chernobyl mean the same thing, and they're going.
Yeah.
Was there a biblical prophecy that this is always going to happen as part of the plan?
Does that mean like Temple Newsom Man has a big problem with woodworms? Does that mean he's got a problem with Chernobyl?
Yeah, massive problem. Massive problem. Massive problem.
Nah, that's bollocks.
That's okay, but we have to talk about it because it's part of the law, shall we say?
If you're gonna go absolute out there crazy with your biblical stories that you keep forcing on me and your kids and anyone who'll listen to you, I'm gonna go aliens.
Are we going there already?
I'm smopping zip fucking lob. Sub the aliens.
Alright then, we'll go aliens. Let me get to the end of my notes because I thought it was coming up last.
But the aliens didn't create Chernobyl. They didn't blow up the reactor. They actually saved us.
How many times? So before we even get into aliens, Chernobyl was a nuclear reactor.
Mm-hmm.
And how many times have we heard stories of...
In the 80s, it blew up in 86. How many stories have we got from the 80s?
Aliens over nuclear bases. Aliens over...
Deactivating nuclear missiles, just turning off nuclear weapons. This seems to be a running theme. We've heard this a lot.
Yeah, so before we even get into the specifics about what the aliens have done here, it's important to probably remember that
there's some precedent for this.
It's happened a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's 60s, 70s, 80s. It's Cold War, there was loads of it.
Mm-hmm.
Rendlesham, which we know about. Yeah, we're going over nuclear stores and stuff, and that was in the 80s too. So it's a peculiar. The thing about this is
I've always got the sense. I know, kind of gone off subject, but I've always got the sense with aliens turning off nuclear weapons in the 80s, which is a lot of stories about, say, Rendlesham in America and in Russia and stuff. And it's just kind of, I always got the impression it's just like a parent with a toddler, just going, nope, you can't touch that, it's dangerous. You'll burn yourself. No, stop. Taking that away now.
It's like you've got a new dog and you're going to have to do the same.
Yeah, I'm doing it so much. Like, no, you don't chew that. You do not chew the sofa. It's like you're going, no, you are not allowed to smash atoms together. You're not intelligent enough yet. Aliens are the bread and butter of myths and conspiracies.
Yes.
From the pyramids to the Roswell crash, and apparently aliens also had a hand in the Chernobyl cleanup.
But as we've said, it's not without precedence.
Yeah. So, rather than being accused of causing the nuclear meltdown as part of a plot to take over the world, urban myths allege that extraterrestrials helped prevent further disaster at Chernobyl, as many expected the catastrophic event to be even worse than it was. An eyewitness named Mikołaj Wojciechowski claimed he saw a fiery ball of light hovering for a few minutes above the exposed reactor on the night of the accident. The ball of light was also allegedly seen on 16 September 1989 when there was a further radiation leak from the unit at Chernobyl, which some imaginary narrators said came from aliens who were containing the radiation.
Did you hear what else he said though about that same thing? He said, because I've got Mikołaj, and he said,
I think I've got his quote here.
Because he said, I and other people from my team went to the site of the blast at night. We saw a ball of fire and it was slowly flying in the sky.
Yeah.
The ball was 6 to
8 metres in diameter.
And we saw 2 rays of crimson light
stretching towards the fourth unit.
So it was beaming light down onto the unit, which is...
like it would deactivate it or...
Oh, going, well, we know if we don't get involved now, this is going to be really, really bad.
Well, yes, I've got here. The explosion was very large, but luckily it was a thermal blast. The fourth power generating unit was basically destroyed by overheated steam. There was no nuclear explosion. Roughly 180 tons of enriched uranium were in the reactor. If a large blast had happened, half of Europe would not currently be depicted on any map.
Fuck yeah. Oh, jeez. So
there was 180 tons of enriched uranium right where the explosion happened, and it didn't go up. It was just steam and fire that went up.
Does it need more than just fire though for it to go up? I'm sure it needs more than just heat
and energy reaction from that kind of thing. And then,
Maybe.
don't forget, it wasn't. Oh, there was a fire and that caused a steam and thermal blast, and it needs more than fire. So don't forget, the core went into complete meltdown.
It did, but
And it was the meltdown of the core that caused the fire and the steam that caused the thermal blast. So the core melted down, created a thermal explosion, but didn't explode itself.
I can understand that certain things might not explode just because there's fire around it.
Yeah, but the fire around it, the fire didn't just happen around, the fire came from the core. The core melted down,
Yeah.
and instead of exploding, created a fire and a steam explosion, but didn't explode itself.
Let me ask you a question then. Let's just say this fiery ball was in the sky, beaming down into a nuclear place. What makes it an alien?
No, it just says UFO right here, but yeah. UFO doesn't mean alien. But what makes it alien is the crimson beam of light that seems to contain the 108 tons of rich uranium isn't a technology we have. That's what seems to make it alien.
The issue being here, though, is again, this is one person's eyewitness testimony.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to carry on.
Yeah, please do.
There are many theories to explain such luck.
Oh, such luck. Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I
They
mean,
didn't blow up.
180 tons of enriched uranium, the room it's in blows up, and the uranium didn't. That's fucking luck. Like half of Europe's still here.
I think it's like Fort Knox. There's no gold.
No
there.
gold in Fort Knox.
It wasn't real uranium.
So-
we sold them a rubber stamp, a rubber one.
One of the theories is there was help from an unidentified flying object. When troublesome events started to occur, some people saw a spaceship hovering above the fourth generating unit at the Chernobyl plant. Eyewitnesses say that the UFO was there for 6 hours and that hundreds of people saw it. People started writing about it only 2 years after the catastrophe. Why wait 2 years? I don't get that, but anyway. Of course, such information appeared in magazines on ufology. As it is generally believed, serious people don't read such magazines and journals.
People do.
The person on the sat I'm taking the notes from, not my words. I put that in just so you know the tone this is being reported. Right. Here's what Mikhail Barteski had to say. I and other people from my team went to the site of the blast that night. We saw a ball of fire. It was slowly flying in the sky. I think the ball was 6 or 8 metres in diameter. Then we saw 2 rays of crimson light stretching towards the fourth unit. The object was some 300 metres from the reactor. The event lasted for about 3 minutes. The lights of the object went out and it flew away in the northwestern direction. Now, the UFO brought the radiation level down. The level was decreased almost 4 times. They prevented a nuclear blast. 3 years later, on September 16, 1989, the fourth powering generating unit emitted radiation to the atmosphere. Several hours later, a doctor saw an object in the sky above the Chernobyl plant. Dr. Kospinya described it as an amber-like. She said she could see the top and the bottom of it as well. In October 1990, a reporter from the newspaper, The Echo of Chernobyl, V. Navram, was photographing the machine shop of the Chernobyl plant. I photographed the top of it, including part of the hole above. I remember everything very well. I did not see any UFO. However, when I developed the film, I clearly saw an object that was hovering above the hole in the roof. The object looked like the one Dr. Kospina saw. It seems that aliens are not worried with the fate of humanity. They are basically worried about the planet's environment.
That picture, by the way, is a black and white picture, and it looks like someone's thrown a £2 coin in the air.
It does.
It looks terrible, and it can be. It's so easily doctored. It's literally black and white. It looks like loads of shadows around, and it's a really, really bad picture. And the amount of times we're here, I took a photo and I didn't see it with the naked eyes. It's on a different light spectrum, but the camera picked it up. The amount of time to hear that and then go, and then when you see the picture, it's like, really? It looks like a smudge or a shadow or something. So I don't disagree that people see things, but this is, it's not like, let's remember, there's a fucking Dunga radar station right next to it. That didn't.
Nice segue.
There you go.
My next one is Doogie 3.
Yeah, so
Nice segue, dude.
So we're segueing each other. Let's not remember, and that was fucking there for ballistic missiles coming in. That was still active until 1989.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure if a UFO was flying over Chernobyl and going, Woodpecker would have been going, shit, there's something happening. No. Quite frankly, the problem we have with this is, as with, like, we both believe in UFOs. We've seen shit. We know about stuff. The problem with this is there's no physical evidence, no video evidence, no photo
I would
evidence.
say I believe in UFOs, right?
They don't have to be aliens.
I've seen a UFO.
Which is TR3G.
I saw a TR3B.
Yeah.
I don't think it was alien.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think because you've seen a UFO doesn't mean you've seen an extraterrestrial craft.
Correct. Yeah.
It's, I saw a UFO. I saw something flying in the sky that I couldn't identify. About 2 years later, I identified that as a TR3B. I saw, looking at some like conspiracy theories, research things, and just go down rabbit holes. Like, stumbled across TR3B on the internet and went, that's what I fucking saw. That's exactly what I fucking saw. I think there's some experimental American or British aircraft. I couldn't identify it. It was an object flying in the sky and I couldn't identify it. Now I wouldn't call it UFO anymore. I call it a TR3B. But I had a UFO experience because I had 2 years of not knowing what it was.
Yeah.
At no point did I think it was aliens.
Yes. And the thing is though, there's a guy called Peter Vladimirovich who worked for the Chernobyl Echo, and he was suggesting that in over approximately four years or so, there's more than a dozen sightings of individual objects and groups of UFOs that are seen over Chernobyl.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's just say that's over Chernobyl over a 4-year period. That's actually quite small.
Yeah.
If you compare it to some of the other places in the world.
Like the black box in America was the... What's the black box place now? You know, the black mailbox.
Or,
It's out near Roswell.
it is, there's a post box that's near Roswell, on the way to Roswell.
Yeah, the black mailbox.
Yeah.
That was like fucking 4 a week.
So to say there's only a dozen over 1986 and 1997 that he talked about within the paper, that for me, I was thinking, wow, 12. I was like, actually, that's 3 a year.
Yeah, that's 3 a year.
That's not that
No,
big.
it's not many. Yeah, it's not that many.
So if you're talking scale wise, that's to be expected. I'd be expecting more.
Yeah. I would be, to be fair. So, yeah, especially a site like that, you'd be expecting.
Yeah, I mean,
You know, like you expect, you might get 3 a year in Leeds, but you'd expect 3 a week at
I mean, I've seen
Area 51. You know.
I've seen 3 this week on Yapap. So, what the fuck did I see? You know, so but I'd be expecting. They've said, oh, well, there's a dozen. Like, it's a big thing. Yeah, a dozen is a big thing, but not over a 4-year period.
Dozen in a year? Yeah, once a month.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah,
well,
alright, now we've got something to talk
let's
about.
have a look. Yeah.
A dozen in 4 years, not a lot really.
And
Get more coming out of Mexico, you know what I mean?
and the misidentification that people go through as well.
Oh yeah, a lot of UFO sightings you can debunk.
I'm not saying it's swamp gas from Venus. It's not Men in Black,
No, but I've seen stuff where I were out bottom of my street. The field we've got at the bottom of the street where we filmed the end of the Men with Hills video.
No, we didn't film it. We got escaped.
Bottom of my street there, we saw a light pass across the sky. Wasn't a plane. Right? It looked like a star that was moving, but it had no tail behind it. Looked really fucking weird. Right? What the fuck is that? And then, about 35 minutes of internet searching. Oh, Elon Musk's Starlink satellites had launched that week and were just passing over us.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So you can do like, most people go, that's a fucking alien, look at that, it's a UFO, that's a shit. It was too high to be a plane. It had no tail behind it to be a comet, and it was just, you could see it was really high up and it was moving. And it's like, that's a UFO, that's an alien. No, it's a Starlink satellite. It's just been launched, getting into position.
But this is a complete another tangent. People feel like most haunted and stuff. Something's moved, it's a ghost. It's like there's 1,000 things it could be. That should be the last resort. And even if it's a last resort, it's not even a ghost. It goes, I can't explain it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a perfectly
legitimate answer. It's my favourite answer. If you ask me a question and I go, I don't know. If I ask someone something and they go, I don't know, I infinitely have more respect for that person. Because I don't know implies I don't know what this is, but I'm willing to find out what it is.
Yeah.
Whereas going, that curtain twitch, oh, it must be a ghost, the ghost must have moved it, and that window would open over there, mate. Other side of the room, window would open.
No way it got breeze all the way over there, that's what you mean.
No, it's too far behind, I fell out of my hand, it must be a poltergeist. Like, no, just say you don't know what it was.
I don't know is a legitimate answer.
And do you know what? I don't know are the greatest 3 words of human history.
In theory it's 4, but that's okay.
I don't know.
I do not know.
Well, it's I do not know. I said I don't know.
Okay.
But I don't know the greatest 3 words in human history because without I don't know, we wouldn't have the entire body of science.
It's true. It's true. Perfectly true.
Alright, if I rub 2 sticks together, it creates fire. How does it do that? I don't know. Right, I'm going to look into that. Oh look, now we have physics, born from friction. How did you move that big rock with that stick? I don't know. Oh, now we've got Fulcrum's leather.
Exactly.
Like, I don't know led to people going, I don't know, but I want to.
Yeah, exactly.
We have Pythagoras' theorem, and fucking E equals MC squared, and Einstein's theory of relativity, and thermodynamics. All these things came from I don't know.
And there's so many more I don't knows.
Yeah, we're so much to the point now we have, and I'm going to get this so wrong because I'm a little bit drunk, but I love this whole state of thought we have at the moment of known knowns, known unknowns, known unknowns, and unknown unknowns.
Yeah, he made that brilliant, crazy speech that people were like, what the fuck are you talking about? But when you break it down, he goes, we've got, because he was talking about, I'm sure it was like the war in Iraq or something. He goes, we've got known knowns, known unknowns,
known unknowns, and unknown unknowns.
Yeah. So we've got things we know, things we don't know, and things we've got absolutely no idea about. But he made this brilliant speech, and it's just like, people are like, what the fuck is
it? I said, like, that is fucking genius.
Yeah. Because we've got stuff we know is happening, but we don't know what it is. But then you've got the complete unknowns where you go, where the fuck did that come from?
Well, we have known knowns is stuff that we know.
Yeah.
We have known unknowns, which is stuff we know we don't. So we know dark matter exists,
but we don't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know gravity exists, but we don't know how.
Yeah.
Or what it does or what it says.
We can see its effects. We can put calculus around it and go, we know it's going to do something because it every single time.
We don't know what gravity is. We can only measure gravity's effects. We can't measure
what
gravity. So it's a known unknown.
Of course.
We know gravity's effects, but what gravity is unknown. So it's a known unknown.
That's why it's still a theory.
We also have unknown knowns, which are we have the solution to climate change. We just don't know it yet. We know we have the technology to defeat climate change. We just might not have repurposed technology we have in a way to defeat it. So we've got unknown knowns. Like we know technology we know, but we're not using. If we use it this way, it can do this thing.
Then you got another unknown.
And then you got unknown unknowns, which is anything, mate. Fucking, we know what's in the observable universe. That's a known unknown. We know how far the observable universe is because we can observe it. It's unknown what's in it. What's outside the observable universe? We know it's there, but it's an unknown unknown.
Do you know what the best thing about the universe that I love more than anything else is we're sitting in a position where we're looking back at the Big Bang.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see things hurtling towards us and hurtling past us. So we can see that. Then you get the haze. The issue is, when things blow, they don't blow in one direction.
They're blowing all directions.
So you've got the same in the other way that you can't see past the haze. So you've got like 14.6 billion light years of space in the direction you'll never get to see because haze is in the way. So it's like, holy shit! So you can see this observable universe, which is like kind of like a tunnel, but the exact same things that we're seeing in this direction exist in the other direction too, and you'll never see it.
Past that haze is the unknown. There'll always forever be unknowns.
Absolutely.
I love that. Once you get your head, I know it sounds really complicated, but once you get your head around it, a lot of shit in your life falls into place. It's brilliant.
Like, fuck it.
Yeah, I know this and I can do that. That's a known unknown. I don't know how to drive a forklift truck, but I know I can learn to drive one. So that's a known unknown. I can take action then. I can take what I know and use that to turn the unknown into a known. I can actually. You got an unknown is my missus could walk out of me tomorrow.
That's a known, right?
It's an unknown why she's still here. But, you know what I mean, your wife could leave tomorrow.
Yes, she could, yeah.
That's an unknown, so you can't plan for that, so why worry about it? Anything you do cannot affect an unknown, so just discover what your unknowns are, and just fuck them off.
So, are you telling me right now that in The Lion King, they got the message of life, Hakuna Matata? It's just like, fucking live it. Hakuna Matata?
No, Hakuna Matata's a fucking bum's way of looking at life. What I'm saying is, identify what you can change and work towards changing it. Identify what you can't change and fuck it off.
There's no point worrying about yesterday because you can't do anything about it. And all you can do is affect today and the future. You can't worry about the past. You can't do anything about it.
Today, and today can be used to affect tomorrow.
Just
Hakuna Matata means no worries for the rest of your days. Yeah. Do you know what that's called? Being a millionaire.
Boris Johnson, you prick. Anyway, so Badger, we've talked. I think we've
done that to death.
Yeah, I think we both agree that this is just. It's not actually that many sightings, really.
No, and it's nice. It's romantic to think all these stories of the aliens turn off nuclear missiles and they come down and stuff. I mean, there is the big question there for me still is when that room exploded, how did 180 tons of enriched uranium not explode?
But do you believe that coincidence and luck is allowed to happen?
Don't believe in coincidence.
You don't believe in coincidence?
Believe in luck.
But you don't believe in coincidence?
No.
That me and you might just happen to walk past each other and go, I've not seen you for ages. I was going to pub. So was I. That's a coincidence. That's a. Those things can happen all the time. Seeing someone in the pub.
That's fortuitous timing.
That's coincidence. Come on. Let's not get into this.
Yeah. Anyway.
Anyway. So, but we were talking Duke 3.
The only bit for me with the alien thing is, this can explain it all the way. It's wishful thinking, all that, blah, blah. The only thing for me the only thing this has that keeps me engaged in it is 180 tons of enriched uranium was in a room that blew up a room but didn't blow up itself.
Now, can I ask you a question about
that? That's the only bit.
However, you're throwing those numbers at me. Are those official numbers?
Yeah, but that hasn't been sufficiently explained to me how that the reactor goes into meltdown, that enriched uranium causes a thermal explosion but doesn't explode itself.
So those numbers are official numbers?
Yeah, that's not being explained. There's the only bit I can't get my head around. That's the only bit when you go in this crimson light came down and stopped happening. That's got some credence to me because not the crimson light, the alien stopping it, but how did it fucking blow up? How did that not blow up? There is no logic behind that uranium not blowing up.
But sometimes logic isn't enough.
So, I don't know what, I'm not saying the crimson light stopped it,
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's some, I'm not completely closed-minded on aliens stopping it yet. That's all I'm saying.
It doesn't need to be an alien, it's just a UFO.
Yeah, a UFO.
Something.
The crimson light came down and a containment field around that uranium while everything else exploded. Not in anything else yet. Not in anything else yet.
So, but we could also say.
I've no other explanation for it
But we
yet.
could also suggest that, and we've spoke about this already, vehicles in the sky don't necessarily mean you're alien.
I didn't say. I didn't mean.
Could be a man-made vehicle.
Could have been a fucking American CIA aircraft that. Right, that's not fucking happening. Off we go.
But we also need to realise what within the USSR, and we spoke, even America.
Could have been time travellers with a dampening field. Could have been fucking Star Trek. I don't know. You know what I mean?
Or alternatively, let's bring this back to reality and a bit of Earth. So, if something happened today, where me and you were like, that's a fucking raging inferno's about to go to something bad's going to happen, we know for a fact that UK, American technology is 50 years more advanced than we can ever imagine. And if something went, I'm going to deal with that because it's and disappear, and we don't have to I'm not going to explain what it is. We're going to fucking deal with it and go. You know, there's potential that if this really happened, that it's just some tech that no one's going to talk to you about because it's like.
That's fine.
I'm not going to explain it to you. I'm off.
Complete on board that. All I'm saying is, a nuclear reactor went into meltdown with 180 tons of enriched uranium in it. The reactor room blew up, but the uranium didn't.
Okay. That needs more.
I don't have answers to that. That's all I'm saying. That's it. This has a little bit of credence, a little bit of open-mindedness because the science doesn't add up on that room.
Okay. We'll stop there, but I think because we could talk about that for a while.
Yeah, but that's basically my bottom line. That's it. That's
okay. Understood. Well, we're gonna go next on to the previous segue into Duga 3.
Duga 3.
Yes.
Yes.
I love Duga 3. Do you know what? I'm gonna let you talk about it, but I love this tech. This is proper old school tech. I
don't think I've quite got my head round it. Yeah, I mean, it reminds me a little bit of.
It's like HARP for me.
UVB 76.
What's UVB 76?
The buzzer. You've not heard of that?
It reminds me of HARP more than anything else.
UVB 76 were a station that was going on for ages.
Oh, with a message.
It just got
yeah.
And then a 55 seconds ago.
Yeah.
And then I had like 3 messages in 12 years or something when voices came over.
They think that's a CIA, not CIA. They think it's KGB, don't they?
Yeah. The rumours of KGB transmission service, coded signals. The other thing which I kind of buy into, I bought into for a long time till it turned off, was it was a dead man switch.
So when it stops, I'm dead?
When it stops, the nukes fly.
Right. But it did stop and the nukes didn't fly.
Because it got turned off. Yeah. But if it had been a case of like, that signal stops, all the nukes just fucking launch from Russia. Like,
what?
The dead man switch, just like fucking, that it's sending that signal every day, every minute of every day. And if it doesn't hit for a minute, nukes fucking fly.
Someone's gonna go, shit! Run back in!
Pop 50p and lucky me, you fuck!
We're about to go to war!
No, I genuinely do think it was a dead man switch. That's the best thing. But anyway, starting in 1976.
Duga 3 we're talking about, yeah?
Yep. Starting in 1976 and carrying into the 80s, everyone with a radio began hearing an obnoxiously loud and alarming strong radio signal.
That's what I heard, yeah. You might have heard it on the camera, but...
The signal was strong enough to gather complaints from countries around the globe, and it was soon deduced the signal was coming from somewhere behind the Iron Curtain, the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
Dubbed the Russian woodpecker, the signal was assumed to be exceptionally forceful over-the-horizon technology, meaning its job was to look out for any missile heading for Russia. Unsurprisingly, given the Cold War, it was facing the US, though it's continued to irritate the world over. Before the disaster at Chernobyl, the location of the military radio base was so classified it was marked as a children's summer camp on maps.
That's amazing. Could play here, what are you talking about?
Oh, we've got the signal to this point on the world. It's a children's camp, you dickhead. It's where scouts go, what are you on about?
Look! Our intelligence is shit. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
It's like putting baby dragons on maps to keep Americans away, innit? Like,
how confused would they be going? We thought, and some camper going, Do you want to buy a cookie?
No. There was never a camp there. There was
Yeah,
no
no,
one there.
no,
It
no.
just on the map just wrote, it's a summer camp on map and went, summer camp, what are you about, dickhead?
He crayon.
In crayon.
Ringo Star.
Ringo Starr. Forgot all about that.
Not anymore. He's back, baby.
Oh, go watch our first ever episode, Paul McCartney. Ringo Starr.
It's fair to say people might not have been very happy.
It's been up over a year, we've not had any complaints yet. If you want to complain, you want to go back and watch and complain, too late, it's been up a year. Anyway. Right. Before the disaster at Chernobyl, the location of the military radio base was so classified, it was marked as a children's summer camp on maps.
Crayons.
However, the disaster left Duga 3 abandoned in the exclusion zone, the name of the nearly 12 square miles of forest area surrounding the nuclear base. It is now a tourist and conspiracy theory destination. Theorists wonder if the base was really just another Soviet structure abandoned in the wake of the disaster, or if it was actually the root of the tragedy itself. Some believe when the $7 billion project turned out to be a flop, high-up Soviet bureaucrats ordered the nuclear meltdown of Chernobyl in order to save their own positions in power.
Yeah, I mean, what an incredible issue that is. Remember, it's called Duga 3 because there was two more. There was 3 Dugas. This was just the one that was a. It wasn't like. This is why this part of the conspiracy doesn't make any sense to me at all. Because there was 3 Dugas. This is Duga 3. There was 2 more that was also doing the same things, pointing in different directions. You can go find. We'll probably link them somewhere, but we'll go to the other Dugas. But really, all they were doing, realistically, they were built for missile detection.
Mm-hmm. But they didn't work.
Yeah, but the world didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
It just, as I say, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was making people believe it didn't exist. The Duga 3, the fact that it was there, and it was, everyone could hear it. They knew it was. It's like,
It was working at 10 hertz,
10
I think,
megahertz,
wasn't it?
yeah.
10 megahertz, yeah.
So it was working at 10 megahertz, and it was just like from 1976, just everyone detected it. So like, was it 1989? I think it was something like that. They were 88. It's like, what the fuck is this noise? Like, just tapping all the time. People knew it was there. They found it, and they were like, "Well, this is a really, even if it was bluff, they were still thinking this is really great tech because it's interfering with everybody. Everybody knows it exists. Everybody knows it's there, and the Russians were like having all this technology. The fact that they built 3 of them, you might be able to get with Duga 3 by going let's put this conspiracy in place where we're gonna
Blow up nearby Chernobyl, so
Yeah.
it takes out Duga 3.
But what about 1 and 2?
Well, our fault it didn't work. But, do you know what lends credence, and what you're saying now makes sense, what lends credence to this for me a little bit is, if you fail in American Army or British Army, you get demoted or you get court-martialed. Yeah? You fail in Soviet Army, you just get executed.
No, do you know what the difference is though? Let's be honest. The difference is, I'm pretty sure. Let's see if I've got it in my notes. So the original Duga site was.
Well, let me just go through this a bit, right? Looking for that, right? Because I'm going to go a little bit more, right?
Okay.
So, the top secret failure of a radio base was the main focus of Chad Garcia's 2015 documentary, The Wuhan Woodpecker. Right?
The Wuhan Woodpecker?
The Wuhan Woodpecker.
Tell it to Jordan for what?
In the film, Ukrainian performance artist, which always makes me fucking. Anyone calls themselves a performance artist is instantly discredited.
Isn't that now the president of Ukraine? A performance artist?
No,
was
a comedic actor.
He was a comedic actor and now an actor, yeah.
Yeah,
So-
performance artist is like, always makes me think like interpreting dance or something fucking stupid. Like, you
My
don't get it because you
industry.
don't understand it. It's,
Yeah.
it's higher than you. Like, fuck off, dickhead. You're claiming Dole.
Sayonara. Sayonara.
He tries to get to the bottom of the Duga 3 conspiracy. He interviews all sorts of officials and personnel involved with the Chernobyl disaster and subsequent cleanup, mostly getting reactions of, "You're insane." The radio system itself at Duga 3 is a huge, insanely futuristic-looking setup of Soviet-era radio wires and antenna that jut into the sky like some great metal insect. Alexandrovich insists this specific structure is the real culprit behind the Reactor 4 meltdown. However, there is some truth to his claims concerning the Russian woodpecker cover-up conspiracy. The Aurora Borealis, the Northern Lights. Yeah?
Where are you taking me, Badger? Go on, I've never heard of this, so where are you taking me now?
I'm not Randy Cramming you, I promise.
Okay.
Like, it's hard science. The Aurora Borealis, or also known as the Northern Lights, affects satellite signals, and all radio systems should be built taking this into consideration.
Agreed.
Duga 3 was not built with the Northern Lights in mind.
But it's only radio waves.
Yeah, but it still affects radio waves.
I understand that, but it's only radio waves. It's not gonna... Radio waves can't blow up a nuclear reactor.
No, but the point of this conspiracy is they spent $7 billion on building Duga 3. Like, so you're saying Duga 1 and 2 work, so like, they spent $7 billion on building Duga 3. Not taking into account the Northern Lights that happen quite often above them. Don't fucking work. The Northern Lights block it. Oh fuck, we're getting taken out back at chemical shed and shot here. Let's put that reactor over road. Wasn't our fault Duga 3 didn't work, that reactor went up.
I'm pretty sure the KGB weren't that fucking stupid.
It's a pretty big fuck up.
Yes.
You're going, I'm pretty sure they're not that stupid. They built a $7 billion radio station directly under the Northern Lights when it can't work.
It took 12 years. It was operating for 12 years though.
Just saying, this is, you can't argue with the science that they built a radio station where it doesn't work. When the Northern Lights are happening, it works great.
So for 2 months a year it's fucked.
Yeah, pretty much. What happens if something attacks you in those 2 months?
You got Duga 1 and 2.
Not pointing in that direction. So he also confirmed a decent amount of Soviet engineering lacked thorough planning and safety consideration. The test which caused the reactor to erupt was actually the second version of a safety experiment that failed the previous year. The documentary also stresses the fact that the radio base cost nearly double that of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, a costly failure by any generation standards. Right.
So the Duga conspiracy that you're suggesting is Duga 3 cost so much money, it didn't work, and so they thought, to cover our tracks, we're prepared to allow a nuclear disaster that could potentially blow up half of Europe to hide our shit.
Yeah, basically, if it gets found out that we fucked up, we're getting executed. Let's blow that nuclear power plant, it's not our fault. I went a week, we can't plan for that. That's not our fault. We can't be able to account here.
I'm going to put myself in their shoes, for an example. I'm the fucking Russian person. USSR, KGB, whoever built this fucking
yeah.
station. And I'm thinking, man, they're not going to be happy. Back in the woodsheds, bullet in the brain. What I'm going to do instead is, we're going to let that nuclear reactor go. And then you go, do you know what? Call that a day. It can be me, or it can be half of Europe. So, would you allow half of Europe, potentially, to go kaboom, and go to hide your issue, knowing that people will trace it back to Ukraine and go, the whole thing went bang, now your whole country's fucked, to hide your one indiscretion?
Me personally, no, but I've met people I think would.
I know. This is not Dr. Robotnik, mad scientist shit, you know. It doesn't make any sense that you'd blow up a whole nuclear reactor.
Possibly half of Europe.
Yeah.
Just to cover your fuck up.
Yeah.
That the Northern Lights happen twice a year.
There's an even more likely reason why Duga got shut down. Anyway.
I'm going to go on.
Okay.
And then you dive in with your Duga bit stuff, right? When the incident happened in 1986, Duga 3 was in the exclusion zone, meaning all military personnel there dropped whatever they were doing and evacuated along with everyone else. The huge futuristic radio station was left unmanned. No one there at all.
So it's still going though?
The bizarre thing is, the obnoxiously recognisable ticking signal the station sent on continued to do so for 3 more years, while supposedly unmanned.
So someone said, "Will you take lights out way out?" It's like, oh fuck, I left the gas on. Oh shit.
Knew I forgot to do something. Then in 1989, it suddenly stopped. The signal itself had gathered all sorts of conspiracy theories back when it first started terrorising the world's radio waves in 1976. At a frequency of 10 Hz, worried listeners claimed it was everything from mind control to weather control, but nobody could pinpoint the location of the signal. Those who believed Chernobyl was a cover-up for Duga 3 like to point out the mysterious circumstances and highly classified shroud around the base. It was clearly important to the military, but was it important enough to cause the worst nuclear meltdown to date in order to protect where the secret was hiding? In 2013, radio users were surprised to hear again what was the undeniable tick of the Russian woodpecker signal.
So can I ask a question?
Yeah.
When did it get closed down? 1989?
Yeah.
But the nuclear accident happened in 1986?
Yeah. It would have manned for 3 years, but it kept going.
So surely, you tried to hack up. Hold on. So surely, you go, do you know what? I'm going to fucking cause a nuclear reaction to shut down this fucking station that I know doesn't work. Plan A doesn't work. So you're telling me they've gone, well, let's cause a nuclear reaction. The radio station's still going. How the fuck did they shut it down 3 years later? Did it
just run out of power? Did it have enough power for 3 years?
Did you not pay his phone bill? What? So someone went, fuck. Right, do you know what? I'm just going to have to turn it off.
I fucked up this radio station. Do you know what? I'm going to blow up that nuclear power plant and do a fucking runner. And I'll take the station out and it'll be fine. Gets to the other side of Russia, switches radio, goes, stop. That's fucking aliens stop Chernobyl from going up. Fucking aliens!
I told you before, leave me alone. You know.
Who the fuck put, I said put 50p in meter to keep it going for a couple of months.
Not 50 rubles!
Not 50 rubles, fucking hell.
It's gonna go for 3 years! Yeah. Man, it just makes absolutely no fucking sense what you're talking about, Badger. But, yeah.
But, in 2013 it came back.
But the woodpecker?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, actually.
In 2013, radio users were surprised to hear again what was the undeniable tick of the Russian woodpecker signal. Conspiracy theorists quickly got excited, but the signal was dismissed as contemporary Russian over-the-horizon technology, one that would hopefully work this time. So, about the whole thing where the Russian woodpecker radio signal could detect incoming projectiles. Well, conspiracy theorists like to postulate the signal could also be used to guide and launch their own, which was stored underground.
What do you mean?
It reads a lot like a plot from a Soviet spy movie, but a 2017 Science Channel special.
Is it by the History Channel?
Mysteries of the Abandoned.
Probably better than the History Channel.
Explores this theory. Theorists believe in an attempt to thwart the USSR's nuclear capabilities, the CIA sabotaged equipment at Chernobyl nuclear plant, causing the malfunction that triggered the reactor to malfunction.
That's a later one to go into for me. But...
yeah, shall we leave that there? We'll leave the CIA one for a bit. I'll go into a different note there. But let's say so. Let's give me Duga 3.
So the most likely thing about Duga 3 is, and I think this is the most likely version about what happened with Duga 3 is, technology got better.
Yeah.
And it simply got closed down.
Yeah.
So, according to reports from it was basically taken offline in 1989. Some of its equipment was scrapped, but they kept the whole thing. But its equipment was scrapped. The original Dugas 1 site, and as of today, the radar appears permanently deactivated and will not likely receive future maintenance because of how it was built. But ultimately, the another factor was its success of the US-KS early warning satellites, which began entering service in the 1980s. By the time this had grown into a complete network, the satellite system basically became obsolete.
Duga 3 became obsolete.
Yeah, because they got all the satellites instead. So Duga 3, whilst coming through the Cold War at the time, was a good thing to put it there, you know. Ultimately, they went, well, we can now do it by satellite in space, and it's cheaper, more accurate,
but
have a bit of overlap,
okay,
but
so,
still doing the same thing.
Right, so, yeah, that's fine, that all makes sense. But how do you explain the base was abandoned in 86 because it's in the exclusion zone, no one's allowed in there at all, but the signal kept broadcasting there for another 3 years.
It could be that, as part of some of the other conspiracies, are the exclusion zones are fake. It's not really. And let's be honest, people being able to go into the exclusion zone with hazmats.
Recently, not in 89. Not in 87 and 88.
But
maybe you could go in 89 and shut it off.
But we don't know how that thing was built, so we don't know where its power came from.
I'm just going with Occam's razor. It was automated.
Or it had a battery.
It wasn't turned off, so it just kept going. That was.
I mean, it could have had a battery. It could have had.
Yeah.
We don't know how it was powered. But we don't know for certain how it's powered. It's also quite. It might have been accessible in '89 to turn it off.
That's what's in. 86, no one can, 87, no one can, 88, no one can, 89, you might be able to get in just enough to turn it off. But it could have been automated and kept going.
It could have been all sorts of things. The likelihood of blowing up a nuclear power plant to hide that Duga 3 was a failure when Duga 1 and 2 was
ridiculous,
fucked,
yeah.
It just sounds a bit far-fetched.
Mm-hmm.
Not alright, I'm going to rephrase that. It doesn't sound a bit far-fetched, it sounds fucking nuts.
Right, CIA did it.
What didn't the CIA do?
Right. So, the whole thing about whether Russian woodpecker radio signal could detect incoming projectiles. Well, conspiracy theories like to postulate the signal could also be used to guide and launch their own, which were stored underground.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
So basically, Duga 3 had missiles stored underground,
So
like nukes.
So it was a nuclear.
Nuclear silo, and the signal was for the missile to follow that radio signal to the US.
Alright, so it popped something out.
So the woodpecker was pointing at the US and going the US, and the missile had launched from under Duga 3 and just follow that radio signal straight into the US.
Right, okay.
That's the theory.
Okay.
Alright. It's like a plot of a Soviet spy movie, but a 2017 Science Channel special, Mysteries of the Abandoned, explores this theory. Theorists believe in an attempt to thwart the USSR's nuclear capabilities, the CIA sabotaged equipment at the Chernobyl nuclear plant, causing the malfunction that triggered the reactor to malfunction. So, the CIA got into Chernobyl, fucked around with some stuff, caused it to blow up, so Duga 3 went down. So they couldn't launch nukes at America.
Okay.
Right? The hour-long episode follows an American civil engineer and self-admitted Chernobyl researcher, Philip Grossman, as he pokes around the exclusion zone with what seems like an alarming amount of freedom. The area is still highly restricted due to obvious radiation hazards. Grossman's theory follows this conspiracy line, insinuating there was a major top-secret radio base close to the nuclear power plant. Civil engineer Philip Grossman outlines the CIA conspiracy theory further in the Science Channel's 2017 special about Chernobyl. In the episode, Grossman lays out the facts. All within a small vicinity, there's a nuclear power plant, a potential projectile launch base, and what was supposedly a normal goods factory. However, he suggests the factory was perhaps built as a shell to disguise an underground chemical laboratory. According to his theories, scientists built military devices combined with the plutonium from the nearby Chernobyl plant. He theorises this all posed far too much a threat once the CIA connected the dots, in case the Cold War suddenly became hot. The theory suggests CIA sabotaged the plant technology at Chernobyl, leading to the absolute disaster that even the Soviets' last leader Mikhail Gorbachev admitted contributed significantly to the fall of the Soviet Union. This would all be a bit hard to swallow if it weren't for the CIA's established track record when it came to security measures. According to Grossman, covert CIA operations during the Soviet conflict included parachuting soldiers into the Arctic to investigate an abandoned Soviet base, Project Cold Feet, dragging plutonium up the Himalayas to spy on China, because Mount Everest was a no-go, they tried, and borrowing a Soviet lunar spacecraft, don't win it, they returned it. Stunts like these make conspiracy theories wonder if the CIA wasn't truly behind the Chernobyl disaster. Right? Now all that sounds a bit crazy, doesn't it?
Apart from, on the day of the Chernobyl accident, there was actually an agent of the CIA present at the station.
Oh, I didn't know
Supposedly so, yeah.
that. And when he throws all that shit out, like, oh, they were pulling plutonium up a mountain and all this long parachute. Like, they actually did steal a Soviet spacecraft for the night.
Did they?
Gonna go on a bit of a tangent here because I thought you'd love this fucking story.
I saw this on just like some pissed up, like me and you basically getting pissed and going, this was the CIA, right?
This is declassified CIA documents.
Okay.
Right. A document obtained by the National Security Archive reveals for the first time the details of a Cold War spy operation that briefly borrowed and studied a Soviet spacecraft.
Okay. So, in UK law, theft is the dishonest appropriation of property belonging to another with the intention to permanently deprive, right?
But they returned it. They did not intend to permanently deprive them.
So,
It wasn't theft, it was borrowing.
right, okay.
Because they fully intended to and did return it.
Okay. So it's not theft.
But I need you to believe I'm not Randy Kramer. This is a genuine declassified CIA document.
What will you send me this week,
Yeah.
please?
Right. They briefly borrowed and studied a Soviet spacecraft that was part of an international exhibition and then returned it without the Russians ever knowing it happened.
So it's an exhibition spacecraft.
Right.
Okay.
The document is an article that appeared in the winter 1967 issue of an internal CIA journal, Studies in Intelligence. Although parts of the article are heavily redacted, much of the complete story remains intact. The target of the operation was Lunik, sometimes called Luna, a spacecraft that the Soviets sent on several missions to survey the Moon. In 1959, the Luna 2 mission successfully hit the lunar surface, becoming the first human-made object to reach the Moon. Right? According to the CIA article, the Soviets were displaying their spacecraft as part of a travelling international exhibition, highlighting their industrial and economic achievements. It was presumably a mock-up made especially for the exhibition. The Soviets would not be so foolish as to expose a real production item of such advanced equipment to the prying eyes of imperialist intelligence. Or would they? A number of analysts in the US community suspected that they might, and an operation was laid on to find out. After the exhibition closed at an unnamed location, a group of intelligence officers had unrestricted access to the Lunik for some 24 hours. They found that it was indeed a production item from which the engine and most electrical and electronic components had been removed. They examined it thoroughly from the viewpoint of probable performance, taking measurements, determining structural characteristics and wiring format, estimating engine size and so forth. The CIA concluded that the vehicle, though stripped of several electronic components, could still yield valuable information about its design and the progress of the Soviet space program. As the exhibition moved from city to city, the CIA examined shipping manifests to confirm when a crate with dimensions matching that of Lutnik would be delivered. The intelligence officers had hoped to sneak into an exhibition before it opened, but found that the security was too tight, due in part to a 24-hour Soviet guard patrol. This left only one chance to get Lunik. At some point after it left the exhibition grounds, the CIA considered briefly diverting a train freight car carrying the spacecraft, but decided it wasn't feasible. But there was a plan B. As the exhibition materials were crated and trucked into a rail yard, a Soviet checker stationed at the yard took note of each item when it arrived. He had no communication to his colleagues at the fairgrounds. However, it was arranged to make the Lunik the last truckload of the day to leave the grounds. When it was clear there was no service around, that the truck was stopped at the last possible turn-off, a canvas was thrown over the crate and a new driver took over. The original driver was escorted to a hotel room and kept there for the night. The truck was quickly driven to a salvage yard which had been rented for the purpose. This yard was open to the sky but had a 10-foot solid wood fence around it. Action was suspended for half an hour. Everything remained quiet in the area and there was no indication the Soviets expected anything amiss. The Soviet station at the rail yard waited for a short time to see whether any more truckloads were coming, then packed up his papers and went to supper. Then a team carefully unpacked the crate without leaving any evidence of forced entry. This task was made easier by the fact that planks had been removed and put back several times before, so were already battered. The photographers and engineers went to work. Our first job was to gain access to the engine compartment by removing the Lunik's large base cap. This was a task which flanged by some 130 square-headed bolts. We removed these with a metric wrench and by using a rope sling moved the heavy cap off one side. Inside the compartment the engine had been removed, but its mounting brackets as well as the fuel and oxidizers tanks were still in place. At the front of the compartment, protruding through the centre of the baffle plate that separated the nose section from the engine, was the end of a rod which held a payload orb in place. A four-way electrical outlet acting as a nut screwed into the end of this rod was keyed by a wire whose ends were encased in a plastic seal bearing a Soviet stamp. The only way to free the orb so as to let the nose tube into the basket in which it rested was to cut this wire and unscrew the outlet. We checked with station personnel and we were assured they could duplicate the plastic stump and wire. The Soviets, in removing all electrical connections and gear, had overlooked 2 couplings in the basket. These were took back to headquarters for detailed analysis. Before we had finished, the new seal, wire, plastic and stamp were delivered to the yard. At 5 a.m, the truck was taken to a pre-arranged point where the original driver took over and drove to the rail yard. The Soviet official who had been checking items as they arrived the previous day arrived at 7 a.m, where he found the truck carrying Lunik waiting for him. He checked the crate in and had it loaded onto a flat car. The train left for its next destination. To this day, the CIA article concluded, there has been no indication the Soviets ever discovered that Lunik had been borrowed by the CIA for the night.
It sounds like someone cheating on their lover. It's like, I didn't fucking do it.
But, yeah,
Now they know.
But when we got this going, oh, that sounds crazy, that sounds mental. That happened. They went, oh, it's going by train from there to there. If we just take it now, have a look around, poke about, put it back together, and we'll get it there 5 hours later, and it's fine with that, no, we knew it, that's fine, cool.
We'll do it again down the line and do it again.
So it's like, yeah, oh, the CIA borrowed a Soviet spacecraft for the night. Fucking stupid, that's ridiculous. Happened.
I don't even know where we were when you
So,
started.
the point I'm making is, if the CIA have come out and admitted they borrowed a Soviet spacecraft for the night without the Soviets knowing, is it that far-fetched? They had someone in Chernobyl sabotaging it.
And even though there's not a huge amount to deep dive on this, and I'm just going to go by my years of knowledge of the CIA, like, you know, think about all the unbelievable shit they've done, like, you know, war in Iraq, poppy fields, working with the Clintons and the kill list and all sorts
the
of
Clinton
stuff.
aeroplane with the coke planes.
Yeah, and, you know, because the rule was, if the CIA, whatever money the CIA made, they could keep outside of government. So, whether that's drug trafficking or whatever they wanted to do, they could make the money.
Well, it's something like the CIA is only 75% funded by the American government.
I thought it was the other way around.
No, I think the stat I read at one point was, or the claim I read, was the CIA is only 75% funded by the American government, but it's 450% funded by itself.
Oh, probably so, yeah. Probably about that. I thought he's only got 25% of its overall funding from the government, from people.
No, I think it's 25% short. Like,
right.
What we're paying, what the American people are paying, it does not cover the CIA's operating budget. So, how does it work? It should have gone under years ago. But it's only 75% funded by the American people, but it's 450% funded by itself. And that's opium trade, cocaine trade, some human trafficking in there, allegedly.
And if you ask questions, you get Kennedy'd.
Or Clinton, yeah.
Well, no, Clintons are involved, but allegedly.
Definitely.
We're allowed to say that because I never watched.
Come with me, Hillary. Bring it.
But is it? If you think about all the things that the CIA have been involved in, not even necessarily the CIA, but think about and the UK, think about all the military undercover stuff that we probably do around the world. Is it a stretch to say that we'd potentially look at some of the weaknesses of a nuclear station, which I'll come on to later, but we're looking at it and going, let's let this happen and just get involved.
I don't think it's let's let this happen. I don't think it's let's blow this up. I think it's the CIA incredibly incompetent. Historically incompetent.
It can be.
Right. No, it's sort of like look at how many times it tried to kill Castro and failed.
Yeah, when there is that sort of stuff.
And then ended up going to ridiculous lengths like exploding cigars and shit. Right?
Could have sniped the...
Could have sniped him at any time, but they're going like trying to get exploding cigars and get one of his lovers to poison him and all this shit, right? And they're incredibly incompetent historically, so could they get someone in Chernobyl to take it down? Yeah, I completely believe that. Did that guy know what he was doing and flick the wrong switch and the thing blew up? Yeah, that's highly likely. That's highly possible to me. It's like, go in there, flip switch 2 and flip switch 3, the place will shut down. That's all you need to do. And he's going to go, they said 3 and 4, didn't they? Oh fuck, reactor's in meltdown.
Well,
you know,
for personally, it's very simple for me. It's Russia were spearheading the nuclear power plant thing. They were ahead of the game by everybody's standards, and USSR was still a thing. Cold War was still a thing. Gorbachev was still in charge, and everything was still. USSR was still a big powerhouse. And if the CIA went in and went, let's show that USSR are incompetent by blowing up one of their plants and causing a rift in Europe, that would ultimately help with the you know, allowing the USSR to, the rest of Europe would probably the world would go, let's cast our eyes on USSR and go, this is ridiculous. And constraints put in place, financial constraints, ties being cut, and
These makes more sense to me. But what I think it is I think he went in there to, the CIA agent was there to destabilise Chernobyl, kind of make it so it don't work, make it so the Soviet Union look bad.
Yeah. It's a great PR exercise.
Press the wrong thing and blew it up, or in America we build them like this, so you flick these switches, it'll power it off and it won't work, and we get to laugh at the Soviet Union. But the Soviet built it differently without certain safety checks in place. When he switched certain things off, it went into meltdown. Or just unlucky that he switched these certain things off just as they were running a test that caused this reaction of events.
Let's be honest, we don't know what they could have done. They could have done all sorts of things. They could have done something very sly. They could have done all sorts
the point I'm trying to make is, I think the CIA went there to shut down and embarrass the Soviet Union. I don't think the CIA went there to blow it up.
It could be something very simple where you go, I simply take a step out of the routine. Like it goes 1 to 36, you take out number 33 and you go from 32 to 34.
That's test failed.
Yeah,
but I don't think they went there to like, because you're talking about something that could potentially wipe out half of Europe.
But that wouldn't be an American issue. They go, the USSR did it, brilliant for us.
There's still a lot of bloody on, a lot of guilt on you. Man, you America got the fucking nukes, didn't they, on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. They didn't give a fuck then.
But
yeah, they didn't give a fuck about collateral damage and friendly fire. Yeah, I'm just thinking, for me, it makes, from a more of a humanitarian side, let's make the power plant fail so we can laugh at them.
Yeah, maybe so. But without understanding the catastrophe, because
how it was built or what it would do, and the set of chain of events in action that it blew up. Like, they didn't mean to blow it up, but they went there to hamstring it, and it ended up what they did with the way it was built and this safety test they were running at that time resulted in a big explosion, and they did mean that.
Do you know? I think it's partly plausible. If I was the Russians, if I was the CIA, if you could get in there and do something, not necessarily understanding the whole aftermath, but is it plausible? Possibly.
Just, I mean, they've built this big plant, let's take it offline and we'll laugh at them because it don't work. And we undermine them. They spent a lot of money on it, it don't work, that bankrupts them, we get to roll over them. Don't think they're meant to blow it up.
No, I think though...
I think the blowing it up was an accident, but taking it offline cost a lot of money to build it, a lot of money to get it on board. That's going, Russia's got all the gas and oil, now it's got all the nuclear power. No, we can't have this dominance. Let's take it offline, laugh at them, bankrupt them. off we go.
I mean, it's morally bankrupt as well, but...
But, yeah, I can believe they tried hamstringing it and undermining them, and, yeah, they didn't understand how it was built or what the systems were fully, and it caused a chain reaction, it blew up, which they didn't... The disaster wasn't the intended circumstance, it was unfortunate.
Maybe it's just because I've been burned enough by them, but I would not put anything past the CIA. I wouldn't put anything past them.
I mean, they let black men catch syphilis on purpose, didn't they? And midnight climax as well. And
Ultra, CIA. There's just so much they've done on their own people, which was fucking absolutely abhorrent. That I wouldn't put anything past them.
This is the most likely theory for me, though. Is a CIA meddled, to just get it offline, just take the station offline, and that economically bankrupts them. It gets a big PR hit against them. Oh shit! It blew up. We're not supposed to do that.
I think then you probably not got something I have. If you're talking.
Well, I'm out of notes now.
Oh, are you?
Yeah,
in that case, I might change your mind.
Go on then, change my mind.
Not right now. I want to talk about other stuff first.
Okay, go on then.
I'm going to leave that to the end.
Yeah.
So, some interesting stuff. Do you know what? I'm going to leave that.
I've just seen a bit there, immortality commune.
I'm not going to talk about that.
I saw something about that and just went, I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
No,
I didn't touch it, so that's all I know.
I've got it in notes, I'm not going to talk about that.
Can I just briefly say what I said, if you're not going to bring it up, was that all the people in the exclusion zone didn't die. They was taken off to an island somewhere and they continued Russian experiment into immortality.
No, that's
kind of what I saw and went, yeah, I'm not touching that shit.
It's a bit deeper than that. But ultimately, there's some people who were in the exclusion zone who got poisoned, who have survived drinking vodka, because I think that liquidators and all that sort of thing. They've gone on to a particular place in Greece, and they've created their own commune, and they believe that they are the next generation of humans, and us humans shouldn't.
Oh, they're mutated and right. Okay.
They've got this like whole belief system of, these Chernobyl survivors. Let's have a quick look. I'll very, very briefly go over it. I'm trying to get to the point now. So, for over a decade, the Church and the scientists shared a harmonious relationship, but they feel they need to reconstruct the world, implement the birth of a new immortal human. What they've suggested is that they've got the technology, and they've actually created the technology to create a new form of humanity, a new human, an immortal human. And they've got all these old Russian scientists who were in Chernobyl and come out and said effectively that they can create a new human.
Yeah, that's exactly why I didn't go
So
down that rabbit hole.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I wrote the box in case you were going to talk about it, so that's why I said I'm not going to talk about it because
I saw it. I just saw that there and went, yeah. I saw that and went, nah, I'm not going down that shit.
Okay.
I don't have the time for that bollocks.
One of the other things then. So we'll go on to our next one. These are quite small, but one of them is scientific.
Okay.
And one of them's not. But one of them is that the reactors were weaponized. So there's a theory that the Soviet Union destroyed the reactor for themselves to gauge the potential of weaponizing nuclear reactors in the US. So what they did is they went, if we blow this one up, and where would it go to? Because they believed they had the technology to go, we can blow up all the nuclear reactors in the United States. Let's just see how far reaching it goes. This was at a time when both countries were in the midst of the Cold War, and any advantage was invaluable. The overwhelming strength of nuclear weaponry was also well known both to the US and the USSR, and the vast nuclear arsenals had been extensively researched. However, what happens when you do it they'd not really had any data. So a meltdown of a nuclear power plant had never been seen before. So this was further research of the effects of the radiation on the human body. So what Russians, and let's not pretend that the Russians and the Americans haven't experimented on their own people before.
So what you're saying here, where we were saying it's plausible that a CIA agent went in and tried to undermine Chernobyl and accidentally blew it up.
Yeah.
This is the KGB going, let's blow up Chernobyl, see what we need to do, switch off, what we need to switch off, what we need to switch on to blow it up. observe that, and then we can get all our KGB agents in America to go recreate the same things at American power plants.
But they were also looking for it's a that as well. But they were also looking at a radius issue as well. They go, if you blew it up now, how big would that effect be within?
Yeah. So if we blow this one up in Chernobyl, take all the information, we learn how to do it quickly, undetected, so it looks like an accident. Right, that KGB agent in Texas, if he does that plant in Texas, it takes out all of Texas.
Yeah.
Or would it only take out southern Texas? Like, what's the fallout going to be of it? So this was a field exercise.
A big experiment, yeah.
To go like, we can lose Pripyat, that's fine, but then if this goes well, we've got agents in America going, turn off valve 2, valve 3, and open valve 5. And it'll go and it'll look like an accident, and then every nuclear reactor in America goes, and the eastern seaboard's gone from the fallout.
You're only
and
to do 2 or 3.
The one they're called what? Yeah.
Do
we need to do 2? Do we need to do 10?
Yeah.
What? How many do we need to do to win this?
What's the effects on people? How far will
Yeah.
it go? What happens if the winds pick up?
Will the winds bring it over to us, and
Yeah.
we get the fallout from it? Yeah.
And there's part of me thinking, that's probably...
That's fucking genius.
And it's not... it's plausible. There's part
Very
of that,
plausible.
it's part of it's plausible. But the thing is though, it's in a very public way. They have to get this right because they look like dickheads when it goes wrong.
Yeah.
But is the data so valuable that they're prepared to shoot themselves in the foot? To go, we've got the data, it took this long to melt down, 10,000 people died, but we look like knobheads, but that data is so valuable that we'll lose the battle.
But then that's where you start questioning the official narrative now is the operator negligence. Because you're going like, well, this looks embarrassing to Russia, that Soviet Union, that when their own plants went up. And they go, it's not so Soviet Union, great, Soviet Union, brilliant. That guy's a dickhead. That guy, the people that were running it fucked up. They were negligent. Don't be like them.
Yeah.
And blame them for doing it, and then go, yeah, but we know how to think of, look, America are fucking stupid as well. Look how many of theirs have gone up.
Yeah.
I mean, it put nuclear power back 50 years because no one would build another plant for 50 years.
There's another thing I'll come on to about that, but
That makes sense. I can buy into that one.
it's not implausible, if not completely inhumane, but
Both sides were inhumane.
but is it by any means necessary? Is that was that the tact of the Cold War? I mean, was it whatever it takes to win this war? If it means sacrificing, I don't know how many people are going to sacrifice.
But if you can sacrifice 36,000 people on your end to wipe out 1 million people on America's end, destroy America and win the Cold War without ever firing a bullet, it's worth it, isn't it?
It's a very moral question, right?
Well, look, you're going to kill 36,000 of your own people and 1 million American people. You kill 36,000 of your own by destroying Chernobyl. What you learn from it enables you then to go destroy 3 factories in America, 3 power plants in America, and kill 1 million people. And the Cold War's over because America's been brought to its knees. Whereas you go to war and 10 million people die. It's only 1 million people against 10 million people.
This is the weird thing.
And don't forget, right? Remember going back and saying like, well, it's Russian killing their own people, right? I remember a couple of decades ago now, the Moscow Opera House, when Chechen rebels took the opera house in Moscow.
Don't know about this, I think.
They were like the opera that took all the fucking audience hostage, like Chechen rebels came and took it, and Russian secret services gassed the fucking building.
Did they?
Went in and killed everyone and got the hostages out. Right? So, a lot of hostages got caught by gas and stuff. Going to the hospital, the doctor's going like, what gas did you use? We need to know what gas you used so I could treat it. It's classified. Yeah, but we need to know what gas you used so we can treat it. Classified. But if I don't know, I can give him this and it'll kill him, or this and it'll cure him. What? But it's classified, sorry. And I think over 100 hostages died.
Because they're classified.
Because they're classified what gas. We still to this day don't gas use, right? And when they got criticised on world stage by it, Russia went, yeah, but we saved 900 hostages, didn't we? That's all their response has ever been. We killed all the terrorists and saved 900 hostages, didn't we?
So I'm trying to put what you just said there.
So when Russia killed 36,000 on the road to test if they could blow American reactors, I don't think Russia give a shit about that. Sorry, Soviet Union, Russia. This is interchangeable.
And the thing is, though, in this day and age, it's really difficult to wrap your head around what it would have been like in the Cold War.
Yeah, we can't understand the fear that was around it.
Fear that was around, and would they have gone to these types of lengths? And I don't think it's a stretch that they could have gone. It could do it. They could do it. So the idea of weaponized reactors, which we talked about before, of weaponizing their own reactors against their own people to get as much data and to go, well,
could we do this in America? Yeah.
Could we do it across America if we have the ability to infiltrate their technology? For me, this does not seem out of the realm of possibility.
No, that is on par with the CIA one.
Yes.
They're both believable.
And do you know, this is a weird thing about this whole conspiracy. I would not put it past the CIA. I would not put it past the KGB at all. I wouldn't.
No. What else you got? You got anything else?
Yes. Science.
Science, bitches.
Science, bitches.
Go on then.
You're like this.
Hit me with your science stick. Hit me slow, hit me quick.
And then it's going to get messy. This is fact, by the way.
Yeah. Okay.
And I am not making this up. This is scientific fact. So, on the day of Chernobyl, did you know there was an earthquake? A natural earthquake on the same day.
What, in fucking 3,000 miles away in Fiji or something?
In Chernobyl, there was an earthquake. On the same day that Chernobyl happened, there was a natural earthquake.
Chernobyl's not on a tectonic plate.
Doesn't matter. So
it does matter, because you can't say there was an earthquake there, but it's not a tectonic plate. Don't matter. No. Tectonic plates you need tectonic plates for earthquakes to happen.
So, I am going to read. So if you
an earthquake is two tectonic plates rubbing together.
So there was something in the episode. So let me read the true scientific news report. So indulge me for 2 minutes while I read. Okay. So this was by a guy called Peter Stark in Copenhagen in the 1996, I think it was. So he said, let's have a look exactly. So at 58, so let's have a look. I'm trying to get to the point. So a tremor with its epicenter less than 12 kilometres or 7 miles from Chernobyl took place just before the nuclear accident. The earthquake had never been mentioned in any official explanation, even though it happened. And it did happen.
Okay, yeah.
We cannot prove why, but there could be a connection. So we can't say that it caused the reaction.
How much before did it happen? An hour before? 30 minutes before? 2 hours before?
Just before. Well, I said just before. So let's try and find out. Let's have a look. I'm going to try and find out. The accident in April 1986 released a poisonous radioactive cloud over Europe, which we're all aware of. 3,500 people died. Number 4 reactor at Chernobyl was built upon a geological formation known as a tectonic break. An area where the crust of the earth is not solid. So Chernobyl is on a non-solid tectonic plate.
Right. Okay, I didn't know that. I wasn't aware of that. So I knew it wasn't on a tectonic plate, because that's what you need for earthquake. But
so the tectonic break. Yes.
Right. But did it happen
on the
10 minutes before Chernobyl went up?
Well, I don't know, but it's on.
Because the reason I'm asking, Fukushima an earthquake happened an hour before the tsunami came in, and that's what caused Fukushima.
Yeah.
Right? If it's on a tectonic break and Chernobyl goes up, right? Chernobyl going up isn't just a case like, oop, and I've gone up, right?
It's here. I'll tell you.
Go on.
The report showed that an earthquake measuring between 3 and 4.0 on the Richter scale occurred 22 seconds before Chernobyl reacted.
Bollocks. Right. So what I want to say exactly proves my point there.
Okay.
Right? Is that Chernobyl doesn't just go, I'm okay, I've gone boom. Right? It's a build-up that starts to go. Right? It's a build-up of energy before it explodes. So it's building up for like an hour before it explodes, right? That, you said earlier, when something explodes, it goes in all directions. So as that energy is building up, that energy goes down. So as that energy going through the tectonic break, did Chernobyl cause the earthquake 22 seconds before it blew up? Because the vibrations, the energy, the pent-up energy is going down into the break, which caused the earthquake. So Chernobyl disaster caused the earthquake. Because 22 seconds before it isn't enough. But earthquake 22 seconds before, and then it goes boom. It's going to take like an hour for it to go.
I have got a counter argument later, which
Right.
might. Well, in fact, you know what? I'm going to get into that straight after. Because of KGB files. So I wasn't going to speak of that. That was going to be my last fucking.
Yeah. But no, you know where I'm coming from. 22 seconds is not enough. An earthquake and then 22 seconds like Chernobyl, but that's not enough time.
Okay.
The energy from Chernobyl building up for an hour, going down through the tectonic break, causes an earthquake.
I get what you're saying.
Chernobyl were going to blow anyway. Chernobyl were going to blow anyway.
I get exactly what you're saying.
Chernobyl didn't blow because of the earthquake. Chernobyl caused the earthquake.
Potentially, I have a counter argument.
Okay.
Coming.
Alright.
But,
carry on.
I wasn't going to talk about the counter argument yet because that was going to be my last.
Hurrah.
It was because it was gonna piece the whole thing together.
Yeah. Sorry. I just. Yeah, but I feel I've just blown that earthquake one out of the water.
Maybe, but not.
Alright, what you got next then?
So no, let me continue down this vein. Let me continue down this vein first. So 22 seconds before Chernobyl, an earthquake occurred. Now you're suggesting that
Chernobyl caused the earthquake. The earthquake didn't cause Chernobyl. Yeah.
So it said a Russian scientist thought the earthquake could have caused the cooling pipes to break. The steam could cause a reaction similar to that of a rocket engine. The nuclear core was lifted out of the shell and exploded happened into the air. So something could have happened and gone an immediate. It basically saying there could have been an immediate reaction. It doesn't need a build up. It could have been an immediate reaction.
Yeah, I'm saying the build up, the reaction, the core was going to go anywhere. But the energy released by the core caused the earthquake, which then caused the pipes to break. If that tectonic break hadn't been there, that energy gone elsewhere, those pipes would have still broke, the core was still going to melt down, it'd have still been a disaster.
Okay. So, I'm just trying to...
It wasn't a cause of the disaster, it was a consequence of the disaster.
Okay. 8 of the 10 nuclear plants with reactors of the same type as Chernobyl's were built in potentially dangerous, geological, unstable areas, usually near lakes, which is right. Same as Fukushima, you've got to have it in a water area.
Yeah.
Of course you do. Let's have a look. So, well, there's loads of stuff I've written here, but ultimately he's saying that he believes that looking at the earthquake beforehand, at 4 on the Richter scale, could, let me ask you, on a Richter scale perspective.
The Richter scale's a debunked measurement, it's magnitude.
No, that's fine.
Richter,
that's
but yeah, 86 we're using Richter scale, that's fine.
And you're not a scientist, neither am I. I'm just asking you out there.
From what knowledge I have.
Yeah, your theory, looking at the Richter scale as a 4.0, could, just before Chernobyl blew, Could the power of Chernobyl cause a 4.0 Richter scale?
Yes.
Do you think?
I'd have said no until you told me it's on a tectonic break.
Right.
If it's on a tectonic break, then yes, I believe it could.
Do you think it could?
I think it could. My understanding, if you send in all that energy, all those shockwaves into the ground, the ground wouldn't normally react, but you're on a tectonic break, so who knows what it could do. Yes, it could cause an earthquake. Did a random earthquake happen and 22 seconds later Chernobyl blew up? No, 22 seconds isn't enough time for what happened at Chernobyl. So, yeah, an earthquake did not cause it.
KGB sabotage
Right?
is another theory. And do you know what? This one got me.
Okay,
So,
let's hear it.
it's interesting. And I think it might make you go, ooh.
Well,
I'm going to talk.
I'm not going to ask one more. I've asked you 4 times to hear it. I'm not going to ask again. I'm not playing this dick teasing shit.
So, the idea was, the Chernobyl. Oh, okay. The idea is, I'm not going to read the notes. The idea is, the Russians were creating nuclear power plants all over the place, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Western world, currently at that time, were reliant upon fossil fuels from Russia.
Yeah, still are.
The Western world were going, do you know what? We don't necessarily need fossil fuels because we can create our own nuclear power plants. Russia, or the USSR at the time, were suggesting that we know nuclear power's safe. We know it is. Because we're so far ahead, because we created our own, we're so far ahead. However, if the rest of the world gets nuclear power, we
Economically fucked.
Yeah. So
we blow up our own plant.
and show the rest of the world that
Nuclear power isn't safe.
they'll have to still buy.
Fossil fuel, they won't build their own nuclear power plants.
This is why I love Badger, because he got there before I could fucking read it exactly. And that's what they're saying. There's a big thing, and the KGB went, hold on, let's calm down.
We're still at that point today where we're just getting around to using nuclear power again because people going back banging about climate change and environmentalism and global warming, and nuclear power is a lot cleaner than renewables because you don't have big fucking, the blades used on wind farms, the lithium ion batteries, actually more damaging to the environment than the energy we get out of them. Nuclear is the way forward, and just as we were getting round to nuclear's way forward, Fukushima happened. And now we don't have nuclear, and energy prices have gone through the roof. Do you know the biggest export of energy in Europe is?
I don't know.
France.
Is it France?
Because it has an abundance of nuclear power.
Okay.
It provides energy to UK, Germany, Greece, Spain, because it's just producing more nuclear power than it needs.
Yeah. So there you go.
And because of the tensions in Russia and shit like that, and fossil fuels and climate change, they're getting to put the prices up. That's why we're getting such a cost of energy increase at the moment, is because it's because Russia putting the price up, but we have an antiquated system where I think 47% of our energy comes from renewables, and we get fossil fuels from Russia, and we get energy from France. But the way our energy market is, we price our energy by the most expensive unit.
We've got such an expensive grid.
No, it's the way we price it. So if we can go say it costs 10p per unit for renewable energy, and 15p per unit for nuclear energy from France, but it costs 40p per unit for gas from Russia, we charge 40p a unit across the board. That's how our energy market works.
That's fucking nonsense.
Yeah, we charge for the most expensive price. So even though Russian gas only makes up about 15% of our energy, because Russia have hiked the price up, all our energy's gone up. Even though it doesn't cost that much to make that much energy. It's only like 20% of it is 40p a unit. The rest of it's like 15 and 10p a unit, but we pay 40p a unit regardless. That's how our energy market works. So, yeah, I completely buy into this. That, you know, just as we're dependent on Russia for its gas. Well, at the time we were, but then if everyone gets nuclear power and it works well, no one needs Russian gas and Russian oil, and what if they get to export outside of that? Because you take gas away from Russia, it's no longer a superpower. It's just a landmass.
Correct.
So blow up your own station, undermine the safety of nuclear power for 50 years. You secure your economic viability for 50 years.
And do it in Ukraine, right in the middle of Europe as well. It's not like stuff again in Russia, right top of Russia. Ukraine is right.
That big cloud's going over to Germany and Poland
Yeah,
and France. It's
you don't
this
want
affects everyone.
Yeah, you don't want
It's
to
not.
take it.
This isn't up in fucking Tunguska where it only affects Russia.
Exactly. This is everybody.
Do it right on the border. Do it right where it's because Ukraine is pretty much Central Europe. It's right on the edge of Western Europe.
Eastern Central Europe. Yeah, it's right close. It is. It's, you know, Scandinavia are going to get fucked. You know, you're going to go straight down into Germany and stuff. You're going to get fucked. So.
Yeah, I can buy into that. That secures Russia's dominance, and especially if you're in a Cold War, and you don't know if you're going to go to war in a minute with Russia, or you don't know if you're going to go to war in a minute with America, or if the whole world's going to turn on you. Well, you're going to turn on me. I'll turn your fucking lights off.
Yeah, control the power.
Control the power. That's it. Like this part, I think we won't go to World War. We won't see World War III ever again, because now we're such a globalist, connected world that, you know, we see right now with Russia. Like, oh well, you're gonna go bomb. We can't bomb Russia because it'll be World War III. We'll just turn off their access to money.
We've already seen that though.
That's what we're seeing right now.
Pretty much is what we're seeing.
You know, we don't need to put tanks in. We turn your money off. We turn your internet off. We turn your information off. And Russia is similar. Like, you want to come invade us, we'll turn your fucking gas off.
It's madness. But this is another one of those where I could not put it past the KBG to do it.
This makes more sense than the CIA dismantling it. It makes more sense than the KGB doing it as a test exercise to get data to blow up American reactors.
It's all about money. And I'm prepared.
Follow the money. We always say follow the money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see this as being like, actually, this nuclear power thing's working really well. We can keep building nuclear power and provide ourselves nuclear power, and people think we're fucking dumb.
But everybody else can pay for our
But
fuel.
everyone else is too scared of doing it. So if we'll build nuclear power and flog them our fucking gas because they're scared of building nuclear, we know it's safe. How do you know it's safe? Chernobyl blew up. Yeah, we blew up Chernobyl. We know it's safe.
Exactly.
But you don't know it's safe, so you're not going to. So you have to buy our gas from us.
Yeah, exactly.
I completely buy that. That's the most solid theory I've seen yet.
I don't think this one's got legs, this next one.
Alright.
But it's still what people have thought about. Weaponised earthquake.
Okay.
So, if you remember back in when there was that earthquake which caused a tsunami, Boxing Day 2002, whatever it was.
Phuket? Phuket in Thailand?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
200,000 people died. There was no epicenter to the earthquake. There was nothing. It was just. It came from nowhere.
Yeah.
Some are believing that there's evidence that there was tectonic weapons used in the Soviet Union and the USA around this period. So they were testing it anyway. So at least in this period, it was being tested. Pravda, the former official newspaper of the Soviet Union, on the 30th of May 1992, said that a geophysical or tectonic weapon was actually developed in the USSR despite the US convention. So they reported in 1992 that they've definitely been doing these weapons.
Contravening the agreement.
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
So they were suggesting that they've been doing these weapons to start with, but there's no reason why they chose Chernobyl. But tectonic weapons have been used. We know that it was on a tectonic break, but that Chernobyl was targeted as part of a US weapon system.
It's always HARP in it. It's
HARP is
Roswell, Rendlesham, fucking Fukushima. It's always we don't know what happened. It's HARP. Must have been HARP. Yeah. Oh no, I'm a bit doing that, but again, we're only 10 minutes ago. Fukushima, Chernobyl was on a tectonic break, so yeah, I'm not fully equipped to answer that really. It's only 10 minutes ago that we were on a tectonic break. I didn't know that was a fact.
But why would you target Chernobyl?
Yeah, it makes.
I mean, it's difficult. So let's just say, for the sake of argument, that weapon exists.
It's a very select weapon. It's only got a few targets. You've got to get a tectonic target, a tectonic plate, or a break, or.
I mean, you're going to kill America.
Yeah.
I mean,
the eastern seaboard, it's fucked that. It's gone in it. South America, yeah, right. It's a worthy weapon. That's all right. Yeah.
But why would Russia do it themselves, or why would America want to target Chernobyl?
Yeah, I mean, there's no military.
What's the end game?
There's no military advantage to hitting Chernobyl for America.
I don't think so.
Can't see any military advantage. Unless you destabilise it, unless we go back to the economic thing of destabilising nuclear power, but then you just give more reliance on Russian gas.
I mean, if we thin this out a bit more, and Russia did it to themselves, so instead of Russia going, let's just blow up Chernobyl, but we'll use a tectonic weapon on Chernobyl for the same reasons of destabilising.
You're going to do it to yourself, just fuck about with the switches and blow it up.
I mean,
why go to all the effort of building a tectonic weapon and testing it? You know what I mean? It's if Russia were going to get a tectonic weapon and go, we don't know if it works or not. It's undetectable. We can put it anywhere. Or we'll put it in Chernobyl. Why not put it on the eastern seaboard of America? If it don't work, they don't know we don't. If it does work, they don't know it was us.
I mean, it's a thin one, right?
It makes no sense. I'm not saying the weapon doesn't exist. I'm saying the choice of target makes no sense.
Yeah, I think so.
We don't know if this works or not. I was trying on Eastern Seaboard of California.
But
the state of California.
It's exactly what you try, right? If the Russians are doing it, this is
well,
exactly
we don't know if it works. If it don't work, California exists on it. But if it does work, we're just fucking America won't fuck with us anymore because they don't know we did it. They don't need to know we did it because they just sat there fucking trying to fix California.
True.
So yeah, not denying the weapon exists, just saying the target makes no sense.
And I don't really want to go into more than that because it doesn't make any sense.
No.
So I'm going to get into my last bit of evidence now.
Okay.
And I'm going to be honest, Badger. This is where I think the real conspiracy lies.
Okay.
And the conspiracy is the KGB allowed the incident to happen.
Expand.
I will expand. So, what happened is, after the USSR collapsed, the KGB, including Ukraine, had all of their memos and emails and stuff, similar to a Freedom of Information Act in America.
Yeah.
It became publicised.
Yeah.
And what we see from 1973 onwards is, I have literally written 2 lines, but it will build a picture.
Okay, go on.
Over a 13-year period. I will link this as well because these, even though they're written in Russian, they're being transcribed into English. They're really, really important. They're really good. They're actually a really good read. But I'm going to go through. I think it's 20 or so.
Okay.
Memos or emails.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just going to read them.
Okay, yeah.
So please allow me to read. So, in 1973, a memo report from the head of the KGB administration.
Just gone. That's 13 years before Chernobyl.
1973.
Yeah,
It's
sorry.
13 years before Chernobyl.
Just throw that out there. Sorry.
So we're talking about when
I just went, I'll let you read it and then butt it in after 2 words.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
So ultimately, the station's still being built.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So right now, Chernobyl doesn't exist. It's still in the commission stage. So a report from the head of the KGB, Konrad Tisbul KVM, first secretary of the KVM. This document discusses, and I will honestly, you can link them and read them for yourself. I'm really going to go over them very briefly. The first document discusses the violations of technical rules of reinforcement and concrete work within the construction of the Chernobyl plant, concluding that these deficiencies will diminish the quality of the energy output. So right away in 1973 they're going, there's a fucking problem. Straight away.
That sounds like, look, I know you're cost cutting and trying to build it cheaply, but it's going to affect energy output. Like, we shouldn't skimp on.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's get the cheap concrete. Let's get the good concrete. Yeah.
Let's not diminish our fucking output.
It's like the thing where you build a driveway and you go, we can time out your drive. You can have this one for £1,000 or this one for 200 quid. But what's the difference? Oh, it's 200 quid and it'll split in about 3 years.
Mm.
Or what's the 10 grand one? Oh, the 10 grand will last 20 years before it cracks. That's basically what he's saying there.
Pretty much. The next memo, 24th of July 1973, so 3 months after, from, again, the chief of Kiev's, am I going to fucking pronounce it?
You take piss out of me for this, go on lad.
Sviatoshinsky? Sviatoshinsky?
Yeah. Sviatoshinsky, yeah.
Alright.
Yeah, I'll go with that, yeah.
Department of the KBG administration said, the report contains further reports of violations of technical regulations at Chernobyl.
So, basically still talk about cost cutting.
Yeah.
1978.
The director of Chernobyl District Department of the USSR says, the document explains the violation of technical normality, labour laws, assembly works at Chernobyl within 1 year of its official opening. So it's saying, we've got loads of fucking problems. Loads of issues with Chernobyl.
Yeah, this is, like, I'm sure I'm maybe grasping at straws here because all the two that have gone before it, but the labour laws is kind of going, look, we've scrimped on the concrete, we've scrimped on the construction, we don't even have the proper fucking hard ass and glasses for the guys working there. Like, this is, like, it's supposed to be in hazmat building radiation shit, not a fucking plastic apron. You know, like, it's...
You shouldn't let him in here with that steel toe cap boots at least.
But the point I mean, it sounds like it's someone's going, we shouldn't be cost cutting on this.
Yeah, it's a continual theme. It's a continual theme. September 15th, 1982, the Charity Committee for the KGB said, this routine KGB report features information about the number of foreigners who visited the USSR, the rumours of the military training of the fighters in the southern England, the suspected murder of a Soviet ship captain in international waters, and an accident of the Chernobyl reactor. So, lots of deaths have arrived, and they're talking about, actually, we've got lots of foreign intervention happening at our nuclear reactor. What is happening?
And a lot of people dying, What's going on here?
And then in May 20, 1983, Colonel Samoylov, head of the part of the KGB, said, this document discusses the weaknesses in the technical design of the nuclear power plants in the USSR and their consequences, concluding that Chernobyl plants are dangerous.
Oh, you got their potential consequences, concluding that the Leningrad, Kursk and Chernobyl plants are dangerous. So that's again going down the theme of this is the official story that safety flaws and construction
and the guys
defects.
were so the original story is this person made a mistake,
but his mistakes built in with the design flaws of Chernobyl is what resulted in the disaster. This is kind of back up the official narrative going, look, this has been built for cheap and been built quick. Like, this isn't safe.
Yes.
They knew it wasn't safe. This isn't painting a picture of they're actively trying to blow it up. this is the KGB trying to go, just cost cutting isn't helping here.
Yeah.
This is not safe. One of them's going to go.
And it's dangerous.
Yeah.
This is 3 years, three
years before.
Almost 3 years before.
Yeah, these plants are dangerous. Yeah. What's there? Weaknesses in the technical design of the nuclear power plants USSR and their potential consequences, concluding that Leningrad, Kursk and Chernobyl plants are dangerous.
That's 3 power plants.
That's basically going, you built these on the cheap.
And they're fucking dangerous.
Someone's got to go.
Yeah.
Like, did you build your house out of bricks or did you build it out of balsa wood? Because that when you built a balsa wood's going to fucking come down.
And by the way, this is not me and you writing this. This is
This is official release KGB
files. Yeah, so this isn't me and you making this shit
So
up.
far, I'm not seeing any conspiracy to blow it up or create. It just sounds like the KGB are going, this is built really fucking shoddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we could get some fucking proper workmen in, but you've got some fucking lads off at the streets. You'd like fucking... This is the same shit I expect to see from the Qatar football stadiums from this year's World Cup.
Yeah. March 1st, 1994, almost a year
84.
later. 1984, sorry. Almost a year later. It's called the Report to Bandishristiv, KGB chief of the Ukrainian USSR in Kiev. He said, this report discusses the violations of reactor design plans and the disintegration of load-bearing concrete due to extreme temperatures and improper wall insulation. So it's going
back to the first one where he's gone,
like,
you're using shit concrete, and he's gone, mate, this guy in 73 told you it's shit concrete. I'm now telling you, shit concrete and shit wall is it. The amount of heat this reactor's going to kick out, this is just going to crumble. It's going to fall down.
Exactly. And then 4 months later, in July 20th, Captain Nikiforov, who's also part of the KGB, said, relays a conversation with a specialist in nuclear energy who explains how gaps at the joints of the pipes are causing problems in both the Chernobyl and Kursk plants. So there's gaps in the joints causing friction.
So the joints aren't being welded together properly.
There's too much pressure and everything's moving around. It shouldn't be. It should be really solid.
Mm-hmm.
A month later, in 1984, a report from Colonel Turko, again part of the KGB. This document summarises the specialist report of the lack of reliability of the reactors at Chernobyl, citing that the lack of protective layers and structural flaws in the reactor that could lead to radioactive contamination and accidents.
So again, the running theme of this is everyone at the top is going, this has been built fucking... It sounds like middle managers going, this has all been built fucking cheap, and the top brass are ignoring it.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing the right thing, putting it on paper, sending up the paper chain, and the top brass are ignoring it. But these guys are going, it's built fucking cheap, but the concrete is substandard, the wall insulation is not to its job, the joints are fucking about, the design flaws in this reactor are gonna fucking go.
So I think it's worse. I mean, it just continues to get worse. So April 1986. So this isn't far before the fucking thing falls over.
Yeah.
So it's called Notice about the categories of the population and body parts most susceptible to radiation.
Fuck me.
So it says, this document discusses how radioactivity is measured, radiation safety norms and categories, and the permissible dose of radiation for different groups, i.e. accident responses, plant personnel and local residents. So they're talking about if things go to fucking pot,
They're ready for it.
Yeah.
Which the one, because that was April 1986.
So
they weren't ready.
So 2 reports in the same day then happened in April 27th, 1986. The first one says, this notice relays a level of radiation in the affected area and the measurements undertaken for planned evacuations. They're going,
this fucker's going.
Yeah.
It's built cheap as shit. We need to know how far we need to evacuate.
So then the next one, on 27th, on the same day, this document refers to the detention of a civilian vehicle which exceeded the level of radiation permitted by decontamination protected at the Institution for Nuclear Research. So they're saying, hey,
If your car's got too much radiation on it, we can take it off you.
and they took it.
Yeah.
And they took it.
They're planning for it to go up.
So this is what I'm going to talk, and we're going to finish this.
Mm-hmm.
This feeds into a previous conversation, I think.
Okay. Right.
So, April 30th, 1986, this document delayed. So, the head of the deputy, the KGB, a Lieutenant Colonel Askanov, a notice of emergency incident. This document relays the data received from chemical protection troops on radioactivity levels at Pripyat.
So now they've stopped going Leningrad, Kursk and Chernobyl.
Pripyat is fucked.
Pripyat's going. Let's plan for Pripyat, because it's going to get wiped off fucking map any minute.
May 1986. This is a background radiation. The paper shows a graph of background radiation levels at the 30th to the 2nd of May, and it's not good. It is not good.
The paper shows a graph of background radiation from April 30th to May 2nd, 1996.
When you read that, it's not good.
Yeah, they're going like...
It's going up.
It's not gone up yet,
But it's going
but
up.
this fucker's going up. Like,
Yeah.
So basically, are you suggesting that Pripyat was irradiated before Chernobyl went up?
What day did Chernobyl go again? So I'm just trying to... I can't... sorry. My brain's not working. I can't remember the exact date.
26th of April, 1986.
The day after is what we're talking about there.
Alright. Oh, you're talking May now, yes, talking
Yeah,
May. Sorry, yeah.
So, literally the day after, it's like, everything's gone to shit, this is fucking nuts. So, in the aftermath, so we're talking May now. May the 2nd, 1986. This describes the level of radiation in the immediate area and populations that are being affected. At this point, Russia, KGB, USSR haven't told anybody this has even gone up.
May 2nd, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, no one knows yet. It was 9 days, wasn't it?
It's 7 days after. It was 3 days after the world knew. And it was 9 days after the fire got put out.
So
the fire's still burning for 2 more days yet, while they're talking about this.
but even though I can go through here, there's loads of artifacts after, which are fucking awful, by the way. Absolutely awful. About the effects on people, the effects on the area. But the most important thing about a conspiracy that I wanted to bring up was, before that, we're talking 1973 to 1986. 13 years of build-up, of going, it's poorly made,
Poorly built, with cheap materials.
we know there's problems.
This is gonna go.
So, the conspiracy here for me is there a conspiracy about Chernobyl? Yes, it's obvious. They let it be built on the cheap.
You and your final thoughts here?
No, I'm not.
Alright, okay.
I'm not. I have not finished because there's loads of other things, you know.
Yeah.
This is not my final thought at all. But if you're talking about a general governmental conspiracy of Chernobyl, and not just Chernobyl, there was
Leningrad
3.
and Kursk.
Yeah, there was 3. There was 3, but in the same way, at the same time period, in the exact same way. It's like they were saying, it's cheap materials. Heat is a problem. You're not getting the right energy. It's built poorly. The KGB, for fuck's sake. I mean, these guys keep things secret. For 13 years they're telling you this is a
fuck up waiting to happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, they're telling us that. So the KGB are saying this is a problem. The problem that I have is, we're talking about the previous conspiracies, is did the KGB take advantage of that? Well, we know it's fucked, but Shall we just leave it?
I can see why you put a pin in the conversation earlier. It's like, it's fucked. We've been trying to tell them. No one's listening. We can exploit this.
Exactly. Is this an exploitation perspective? Because they've known for 13 years it's a problem. They could have fixed it if they wanted to.
I mean, well, no, because Leningrad and Kursk didn't go up.
Yeah, they didn't. But is that by sheer luck?
Yeah, I think it's just by sheer luck. But we've been telling you. Oh, look, that one went up. Told you. It's.
Does that then feed into the other conspiracies of we've got a nuke over there?
That's gonna go up. Is that we can fucking
let's blow that shit up. Oh, the kids will be going. We could actually let's just go and go.
We can use it as a test to see how we can fuck up the American ones.
If this fucks up, what does it look like? Could this all official stuff? This is true official KGB stuff. Feed into, well, if we let this happen, if we just
I think you stretch. I think you're taking official documents and then putting your own narrative to it.
No, there's loads of conspiracies, and I'm going.
Yeah, but you're taking solid facts.
Yeah.
And the solid facts make about 10% of your narrative now. All the rest of your narrative is, see, this is facts. You can't deny this.
Yeah.
So if this is true, then this and what about this and what about this and what about that and what about that? And
I'm
you're
asking,
coming further and further away from these facts.
But is there credence to all that stuff if this is true? It's a question.
It sets a foundation for it.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean what you're suggesting is true.
I am not.
Which is how a good conspiracy starts, with a kernel of truth.
Of course. But if this is true, if I was in the KGB, so I'm just saying, I wasn't a part of the Cold War, but I'm just suggesting if I was in 1986, part of the KGB, middle of the Cold War, I know this is going to go, or one of the three are going to go anyway. I'm not sure which one it is, but one of the three are going to go. I could apply this to any of them, really.
Mm-hmm.
One of them's going to pop.
Well, let's make one pop.
Oh, let's make one go. Because we've got a Duke of 3 that's fucking failing, and we can go, let's just get rid of it out of the way and just fucking go. It would be really nice to know if one did go, actually, what's the benefit of a failure? Projects do that all the time. I do that in projects all the time.
Also, if it proves you right, if you've been saying a failure's going to happen for 13 years, and then it happens, you're right. You've not failed in your job. You're on record of telling people that we're going to go, and then it goes. Well, aren't you the big fucking I am right now?
Or even, let's get even more meta on this shit. The KGB know it's going to go. Feed it to America. America bringing a CIA agent to make it happen, and they can go, this big fucking catastrophe is because of America.
But they never did that.
No, but I'm saying potentially.
No, but you've got to link it to America that it's going to go, so CIA come in, make it go. Then the official story would be the CIA came in and did it. America did this. The official story is flawed reactor design and operator negligence.
No, that's not Russia's.
It is Russia's official story.
So do you know when Chernobyl was made, the TV series?
Mm-hmm.
Russia said, that's not the fucking truth story. We're going to tell you that the CIA did it.
Okay.
So they're preparing to make, if they haven't already,
an alternate to Chernobyl. Yeah, I
the
saw Russia's going to do an answer to Chernobyl series.
But they said CIA did it. So does that then feed into a proper backwards, crazy, I can't even matrix shit, double agent, crazy.
Yeah, again, but you're building this with no evidence.
But that's how conspiracies start, right? So
yeah, but we're not about starting conspiracies, we're about examining them.
But isn't it exciting though? It's like...
Oh, it's exciting. It's great. Like, I could completely see how the KGB know it's going to fail, so they feed it to America, so America come over to help it fail, to show the Soviet Union up, and the Soviet Union go, CIA did it.
Double bluff.
Yeah, but my problem with that is, they're coming out and saying CIA did it in 2022. They'd have come out and said that in 1986.
Yes, agreed.
You won't wait 40 years to go, you did it! A bit fucking late now, no one cares, mate. Like, no one knows how it happens alive anymore.
So, can before we get to our closing, can we get back to the point of where we started Chernobyl? Because we had a discussion of why are America...
Why are Russia taking Chernobyl?
Taking Chernobyl now. Because that's still an interesting conversation, even though there's no fucking
There's a
narrative around.
really simple answer for it. A really boring, simple answer.
It's a really fucking great place to take because you can't blow it up.
No.
You can stick your troops there.
No. Well,
you can't bomb it.
I'll go to something in a second about that. But, yeah, I mean, why take Chernobyl? It's next to Belarus. Belarus is about to join into a fight. And everyone always thinks Chernobyl went up and exploded.
It didn't really.
Only reactor 4 did.
Yeah, it didn't really.
1, 2 and 3 is still viable.
Yes.
You can boot 1, 2 and 3 up again.
Kind of, yeah, you can.
Power Belarus. Cheap electricity to Belarus, cheap energy to Belarus in return for helping you war effort.
Do you reckon?
What happened 2 days after
They put a sarcophagus over the top of it though.
reactor 4?
Only 4?
Yeah, only reactor 4. Reactor 1, 2 and 3 stood there just waiting to be powered up again. What happened 2 days after Russia took Chernobyl? Belarus joined the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Belarus invaded Ukraine because they're getting energy from Chernobyl now. It's a really boring answer, but it's Occam's razor.
I don't quite think it's Occam's razor. Because the Ukraine could have done that already and gained it for themselves way before Russia did.
Yeah, but no, they're running. 1, 2 and 3 is running. It's been running for 20 years.
It has not.
It has. 1, 2 and 3 has been running. It's been very low level running to see if he's viable to run at full level.
But it makes no sense. So let's just say, for the sake of arguments, that you could get 1, 2 and 3 fully operational, available to give viable fuel to Belarus. Why would Belarus go Russia invade Chernobyl for something that Ukraine could give themselves? Why would they do that?
So, in closing, the title of this video, is it?
It's a difficult closing this, because what is the title?
Is there a conspiracy to the Chernobyl disaster?
Yes, I think there is.
What's the conspiracy? Which one?
I think...
That's the question is there a that's the title of this video. Is there a conspiracy to the Chernobyl disaster?
Yes.
So what conspiracy do you buy into?
So, you know for a fact that all of our videos, go watch them. I think it's only once TR3B.
TR3B, you've said yes on. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's the only one so far.
I done 2? Right, TR3B and Hitler.
You did TR3B, Hitler. Paul McCartney?
No, I didn't do Paul McCartney.
Not Hollow Earth. You've done more. You've definitely
I've
done
done more. That might be 3, 4 I might have said yes on.
Yeah. And I've gone,
Yeah.
no chance.
Yeah.
This one...
Just straight up yes, you're not even thinking about it, just yes. Been a couple of you being on fence like, this should just straight in yes.
And I think there is.
So what do you think the conspiracy is?
A scientific conspiracy. Because for the first time, for a very, very long time, we've got evidence here where the KGB themselves have come out and going, you shouldn't fucking be building this plant. It's very simple. The conspiracy is they allowed this plant to go forward knowing for a fact it's built on bad construction. It's built on bad science. The KGB files that are being released are simply saying there's a conspiracy of saying by government, just fucking build it no matter what the consequence. And what is a conspiracy? It's simply 2 people getting together, having a decision to conspire against something else. It's literally me and you going, I want to rob a bank. Do you want to rob a bank? I want to rob a bank. That's a conspiracy. It's simple. What we're talking about here is the whole government, the whole scientific community are saying, this is a really bad idea. We're cutting corners, it's fucking dangerous. Something's gonna blow, and someone going, we think it's not a problem, and we're gonna let it happen. That to me is a conspiracy.
Right.
And as far as I'm concerned, the fact that that was let to happen, and the government knew it, the KGB knew it, they knew it's a ticking time bomb, they just let it go on and on and on and on, that's a conspiracy. And as far as I'm concerned, forget all the aliens, forget all the other shit, this is a conspiracy to let it happen. And there's no offence for me, this is proof enough. This is proof enough. That's a conspiracy. Simple. I am not on the fence. Chernobyl was a conspiracy. I have never closed that fast in my life.
You're not. And I've never disagreed with you so much in my life.
Have you not?
Right. Is Chernobyl a conspiracy? Yeah, I think it is.
I agree it's a conspiracy.
Right. I think your interpretation of those documents is absolutely 100% wrong.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. You're interpreting that as being they're knowing something's wrong and they're allowing it to happen.
Yep.
I see that those Freedom of Information Mission report out, I see them as this is wrong, it needs to be stopped. Where this is middle management flagging it up, and someone above it's ignoring it. I think they've done everything.
That's still a conspiracy, though.
No, I think they've done everything they can do to stop it or to fix it.
KGB agent.
Yeah, but they're sending it up. You could be a KGB agent, you could be fucking 10 rungs down at KGB. You got to send it up above. You know what I mean? It's a big
That's above me and you, though.
Yeah, but this reads to me, reads like they're going, there's a problem here, it needs to be looked at. Above my pay grade, you need to look at it, and then what the emails above these, and they decide to leave it, they decide to let it go. Do we not have the money to fix it? So I think you're interpreting this wrongly, right? I think this is people trying to stop it being bold, trying to stop it going up. Not people going, fuck it, it's going to go up. Off we go, right? That, I think you're completely wrong in the way you're reading that. I do think there's a conspiracy. The KGB blowing it up for themselves, I think, is bollocks. The CIA going in to turn it off, but fucking it up, odds a bit of credence possibly. The Birdman of Chernobyl, fuck all.
No. Aliens.
Aliens, I like the romantic thing of the aliens that they switched off nukes in
It
the
is
80s
romantic.
and stuff,
It is
and
romantic, it is.
turned it off to looking after us as protectors. I like that, but yeah, still not enough evidence, right? The one that holds credence for me, the big one that makes me think it's conspiracy, is where nuclear power, we've created nuclear power, we're miles ahead of the world on it, but we can do this and America can do it, and then we don't need to buy Russian gas off us.
So the KGB
Blew up Chernobyl so that Russia could still export gas
so
around
the
the world.
world are going, oh, I don't want to do it.
Don't want to touch nuclear for 50 years. Like, you want to be an American congressman going, I'll build a nuclear power plant in our state, and it was going to see fucking Chernobyl. Not voting for you, dickhead. It unsettles the political landscape of America and keeps them reliant on Russian gas, and has done ever since.
I've got no evidence to discount that. It just doesn't feel right.
That feels right to me. That feels right.
It's a weird one because gut instinct is not a science, right? Not at all. Not at all. But it just...
But everything I've read, blowing up a power plant to enable to destabilise nuclear power for the next 50 years to make sure Iraq is not actually a superpower. Yeah, I mean, nuclear power becomes safe and proliferate around the world. Russia's no longer a superpower, it's just a big, flat, empty fucking land.
I get that. I think there's a bigger conspiracy around, personally, that we know we're going to build something that's wrong, it's going to fucking blow. And going, do you know what? Just let it happen.
I think I read those emails as they were trying to stop it from blowing. They were trying to tell people what was happening, trying to tell people what was going on.
These people were, but it was completely ignored.
Yeah, it was ignored.
And that's a conspiracy.
but we've only got middle management emails. You want the
You've
conspiracy?
got no idea who these people are.
No, but you got middle management. Well, who they're reporting to? Who they're putting these documents into? Who these documents get received by? Because they're getting sent.
How
to
can you
somebody.
make a judgment because you don't know who the people are, who they're reporting to? But you can make a judgment.
Because the stuff you put here, they're submitting documents regarding this, submitting documents regarding that. Who they're submitting the documents to? They're not. These aren't people that make a decision. They are people who gathered evidence and submit a document to someone who's making a decision.
So let's put it simply.
We don't know who that person's making a decision is, and we don't know what decision they made.
But the fact there's so much ignorance around it, it has to go.
Not from these, there isn't.
No. But you say we are new to nuclear power over the last 15 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna fucking blow up. That's not gonna go to Bob in the corner shop. That's
So they're putting in documents to go to upper management.
Yeah.
You do not have upper management's response to these documents.
I think
That is April 27th, 1986, untitled notice on levels of radiation in Chernobyl, MPP, and steps taken in response, right? This notice relates to the level of radiation in the affected area and the measures undertaken for planned evacuation. So he's put a report in.
but this is after
Right,
the vote.
doesn't matter, right, it's after, but he's put a report in.
Mm-hmm.
Who's he going to put that report into?
I'd have to review it.
What is the person's response to his report that he put in?
I don't know.
So how can you make a judgment on a conspiracy if you don't know where that report was being? This guy is not a conspiracy to blow up Chernobyl. This guy 16 years before was not a conspiracy to blow up Chernobyl. He was putting a report in that it was built badly. Who's he putting the report into, and what was the person's response to the report in?
Putting the report in.
You've only got half the story here.
No, but putting a report in, it not being dealt with, years later someone going, it's still a fucking problem, it's not being dealt with. For me, it doesn't matter if it's between a conspiracy.
You're a project manager
Yeah.
by trade,
Yeah.
right? Someone in your project has a problem.
Mm-hmm.
The procedure is to send it up the line to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you can't fix it, you send up the line to someone else, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, someone says there's a problem in the software, puts that report to you. You ignore it and launch the software anyway, right? Software goes wrong. 10 years later, I've got Dave's report that he sent up to you. I don't have your response. I don't have your reaction to it. I've only got Dave's report. I cannot make an informed decision on what your choice was, what your mindset was. Whether you decide to ignore it, whether you send it further up to the owners and they declined it.
But you do. I ignored it and launched the software anyway.
I don't know that.
But I did it. That's my action.
No, Dave sent it up to you. You might send it up to upper management and they sent it back down and launch anyway. So it wasn't your decision to launch, it was someone above you that launched.
So the conspiracy.
Right? Yeah, but I don't know whether you launched it. Did you ignore Dave and launch it anyway?
It's still a conspiracy.
No, listen, you're missing the point.
I'm not.
No, you are. Did you launch the software, right? Did you decide you ignored Dave's report and you launch it? Or did you send it up higher than you and got instructions back to launch anyway? That's two different things. Because the fault then relies on upper management, not you. But we don't know if you launched it or upper management launched it. All we know is Dave flagged it. And that's what you've got here. You don't know who launched it or who did this, what their mindset was, what their reasons for doing it was. You've only got someone put a report in and said it was poorly built.
That's true. But it doesn't.
You don't know what the results of this report was.
As far there was loads and loads and loads of reports. I've
Yes.
only highlighted a couple. Right?
Yeah, and they got completely ignored.
Yeah. So.
But did they get ignored by the next person up the chain? Or did they get ignored by the person higher up than them?
We're not saying...
You're putting... When you're saying this is a conspiracy for Chernobyl to blow up, you're saying this was... These people went, yep, they're all putting these in, then you were going to go, and they allowed it to go. Who allowed it to go? Why did they allow it to go? What is a conspiracy?
Let's.
You don't have one.
So
you've got reports from lower management.
You have accepted conspiracy for less evidence than this. So this was 13 years, and I've chosen a few. Right? I'm not choosing everything. This is 13 years before it blew of KGB.
No, it's a year before it.
It started in 1973.
Yeah, right. No, 13 years before it blew, right?
Yeah.
That's after it blew. That's after it blew. That's after it blew. That's after it blew. Right? It's not 13 years.
I started in 1973.
There's 3 reports before it blew.
Doesn't matter.
It's not 13 years of reports
I
before
chose.
No, right, the way you word it then, I've got 13 years of evidence before it blew. No, you've got 3 reports before it blew. Everything else is after it blew.
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
13 years before, they were saying, this is built incorrectly, it's built poorly, there's problems with how it's being built. This is the thing, right? If this was the Conservative government right now, and we'd have flagged it to them 13 years before, we'd be sat here going, the Conservatives ignored it. Whenever a violation is raised, it's still official.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter who the official person is who raised it. It goes to the next person.
Yeah.
Right? If that person above you says that, as far as I'm concerned, that is not a problem, and sends it back down to you, and you go, I've raised it as a problem, you don't think it's a problem. You don't need to know if that person has spoken to somebody else, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to talk. You go, well,
I did my job. I sent it up the line. It's come back down. These
and they said,
instructions.
as far as I'm concerned, this isn't an issue, right? So there's no conspiracy there, because as far as you're concerned, you've done your job, and that person's gone. I, as an individual,
The person below me sent it up the line. I've sent it up the line. Instructions have come back down. You pass instructions back down. That's the job.
Yeah.
That's.
So what I'm saying is, my interpretation of hundreds of these fucking artifacts, I've listed a few.
No, yeah, I know. You've
Right.
got to take a snapshot of them.
And I'm giving you 2 lines of the whole artifact,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I apologise because I didn't want to sit here with the whole
Well,
artifact.
we're not going to go through it. We're not.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. I know.
And I can't sit here and go through the whole thing with you, right? And I can't go through the whole thing with you guys on film because
Yeah, that's why we're going to link it and let
Yeah.
them go through.
And it
It'll
will
be here
take-
all fucking night.
yeah, and it will take ages to read. Like one of these is like 14 pages, so as a memo. But it's obvious for me. I mean, and this is difficult because I'm not giving you the evidence, right? So I recognise now I am not giving you the evidence to this because I'm giving you 2 lines of information. And I get that, right? So I understand.
No, it's not. It's not that. I think you're misconstruing. I think you're getting stuck up on KGB.
No.
Means MI6.
But from what I've
When
read,
these just look like emails between councillors. Like you got a council for North East Leeds, email the council for North West Leeds. And they pass up to the Lord Mayor, and the Lord Mayor comes back and goes, yeah, we're aware of it, don't we? We're working on it.
doesn't read that way.
Then you're going to blame Boris Johnson
No.
for not being aware of that. You know what I mean?
It honestly doesn't read that way.
That's exactly how it reads to me.
Because you've got 2 lines. I get it.
It's not because I've got 2 lines, it's because it's a minister for Kiev speaking to a first secretary of Kiev. It's not 2 lines, it's the positions in it. You're putting a lot of stock on this. Director Chernobyl District Department. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Director Chernobyl District Department. Don't say where he's sending it to. Right? Chair of the Committee of State Security of the Ukrainian SSR to the Central Committee of the Communist Party of Ukraine. That's not going to Russia. That's.
But that's like, it's literally going to. So as an example will be, if the British Gas are saying they've just built a new fucking gas station in, I don't fucking know, in Leeds. And the person in Leeds is going to the British Gas going, this is fucked. They're going to the head of British Gas and they're going, just plough on. Just plough on. Fuck it. Just go on.
I know where you're coming from. I don't agree with you. I don't think this doesn't say conspiracy to me. I don't know why we're getting into this argument because it's my final thoughts, not yours.
I know.
So yeah, my final thoughts are that I think I think there's a conspiracy to destroy Chernobyl, and for me, the one that holds biggest weight is to keep a reliance on Russian gas.
And for me, it's a case of, in my opinion, from reading the context of the artefacts, is it was well known, it was built in a very poor fashion, and it was ignored.
So, does it believe there was a conspiracy on Chernobyl?
100%. Absolutely agree. There was a conspiracy. Not for what people probably think, but I think there's a
I
conspiracy.
100% agree there was a conspiracy on Chernobyl. Not what people think. Not what you think either.
I don't really think either.
But we both agree there's a conspiracy on Chernobyl. Anyway, that's where we're at tonight. We've laid a lot of theories out. Let us know what you think. If you've got any theories we've not listed, let us know in the comments below. Give us your opinion on it. Until next time, he's been Craig. I've been Lord Badger. Silly.
Fuck off.
Done.